The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
And away we go. It's not July 4th, but it is a holiday. It's July 3rd, the day before. So I think this is when the aliens arrive, if I'm remembering Independence Day correctly.
Yes, they do. The eve they arrive.
The eve.
Yes.
It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the boys. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Ken Carman Show. They are off. I guess they'll be back next week. I won't. I'll be on vacation next week and also the following week. My summer sabbatical, we're getting ready for that. But what a win for the Guardians. Audio courtesy of Guardians TV. Matt Underwood on the call. Just what a night at the ballpark. Brian Rocchio walks it off with the home run there off the foul pole down the line. I mean, that thing was an absolute bomb that he hit halfway up the foul pole. And the Guardians able to come back and stun the Chicago White Sox to take game one of an important 4-game series. I try not to hype up series in July, but considering just what a mess the American League is right now. The fact that the Guardians are still without Jose Ramirez and Angel Martinez. Hopefully going to get those guys back by the end of the month. Treading water is paramount. You don't want the White Sox really to pull away, and I don't think that the White Sox are going to pull away. But this really is a fascinating series, and they went back and forth last night. And in the end, it was the Guardians who delivered the knockout punch and pulled themselves into a virtual tie with the White Sox in the American League Central Division. Again, I know it's July 3rd. Might be a tad early to be standings watching, but again, considering the situation for the Guardians, that was a big one last night. That really was, because it got away from there. Got away from them there in the middle innings, and they, in the end, found a way to rally back. Stephen Kwan, who right now couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag, comes up big with the outfield assist, throwing the runner out at third to kill a Chicago rally. That ended up being a massive, massive play defensively, and again, Rocchio with the walk-off bomb. So, Guardian fan, you should be feeling pretty good. This morning, I'm in Guardians gear. Coach Riz is wearing his Guardians gear as well. And, man, I mean, I don't want to say it felt like October, because it didn't. It was a blast furnace last night. But the game, the 9 innings, kind of had a little bit of an October feel to it.
Well, for me, it speaks to the consistency at which the Guardians do things. So when you go into a big series like this, they don't have to do anything different. That's what makes them fun. They treat every night kind of the same. And when you don't have those highs and you don't have those lows over the course of 162, it makes a difference. And they're always in the game. They always treat, like play the next play. It's whatever it is. That's what last night was. They're getting Bazana looks like the real deal. I love Rocchio. You're getting playoff Rocchio now during the season, which is kind of nice. But for me, it just speaks just how they operate. They operate on a day-to-day basis, and when you do that, you don't have to get too high. You don't have to feel the pressure of a big series, because they kind of treat every game the same, because they're good enough to beat everybody, but they're not good enough not to execute and do what they're supposed to do. So for me, it's just how they play, and I love watching them play, because even when they're down 5-2, you're watching.
Yeah.
You're assuming something. It might not, but you're assuming something's going to happen because they're not giving in.
Yeah, and almost the carbon copy to how Rocchio walked off the Guardians last year to clinch the American League Central Division with the ball off the foul pole. And, this is I think the 5th time in his career that, he has been able to walk the Guardians off with a win. But to come up in that spot and deliver. And look, I mean, no one in this Guardians lineup is hitting with any semblance of consistency. You look at the batting averages. Not impressive at all. They put the OPS on the scoreboard now. I'm old school. I actually hate that, by the way. I know the I guess, how do I want to say this? The modernized baseball fans.
Yeah.
Like the OPS on the scoreboard. I'm old school. Give me the batting averages. Give me the home runs. Give me the
300.
RBI.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, give me 300. I want 300. Give me 300 batters. 3 out of 10. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you're not getting it with this lineup. Should I read the bet? No, we're not going to do that this morning, okay? We're going to be happy. We're going to be pumped up. We're going to be excited. It was a great game last night. They won. So we're not going to read the batting averages this morning, okay? We're going to be positive.
Yeah, they're getting timely hitting, right? That's what they are about. That's, really when you put the OPS, for me, the Guardians are about get the big hit when you need it. Because you're right, the average is not there, and that's what they do. They kind of just get the big hit when they need it, and they pitch. That's what they do.
By the way, if I missed something, Travis Bazzana has a nickname now. He's Baz or Baz?
Yeah, Baz.
Baz?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing now?
Yeah, that's what I heard, too. I heard a couple times I've heard Stephen Vogt say that in pressers. The Baz gets us going.
He hasn't been here long enough to have a nickname.
Oh, you think there's a time element before you get the nickname? All right.
Yeah, you gotta pay your dues a little bit here.
All right.
Like if he makes the All-Star team this year, okay, then he can have the nickname.
Okay.
Like I think it's a little early for the nickname thing, right? I mean, he is hitting 250.
Speaking of Baz, when Hosey comes back, does Arias see the field? Is it going to be, or what do you think there? I mean, you can't take Rocchio out, right?
No, yeah. Well,
you hate to lose people. You don't want people. I mean, does Rocchio? I mean, I don't know. You can't take Bazzana out.
No, he'll stay. I think that and Vogt talks about this all the time, and he even talked about it a little bit last night. Like he'll platoon guys. Like everybody has to be ready at a moment's notice. Even if you're not in the starting 9, there's a very good chance that you're going to see the lineup. I mean, just look at last night with the pinch hitting that he did. I mean, that's how he runs this ball club. Just because you're not in the starting line, it don't mean you're not getting in the game, and you've got to stay ready. So whether it's Arias that takes a seat, whether it's Rocchio that takes a seat at some point, like. And honestly, I wouldn't take Rocchio out of the lineup. I'd leave him in there at short. But, like, you have to stay ready night in and night out. And, and part of that's necessity. But also, too, I really think just, the couple years that Vogt has been here and just watching how he handles this ball club, that really is, I think, how he likes to manage things. Is he wants to keep everybody involved. He's not afraid to pinch hit late in games. He's not afraid to make defensive substitutions late in games. Okay, look, I mean, he had we see this all the time late in these games where he'll pull someone off the bench late in the game, and if it works out, great, and if it doesn't, like, okay, on to the next thing. Like, and I do like that about him. The fact that he does show confidence in his players even when his players are consistently inconsistent. Like, yeah, and we'll talk about how he handled Slade Cecconi last night. Cecconi ended up giving up 5 runs. It's the most runs he's given up in a while. Obviously folks think he left him in too long, and that's fine. I mean, these are conversations we have just about every game, right? Did he leave the starter in too long? Did he go to the right guy coming out of the bully at that situation, right? You're going to have those conversations every game, and last night is no different with Slade. But he's consistent. And we had Matt Underwood on. Again, you heard Matt's calls in the show open this morning on Guardians TV, but we had Matt Underwood on Afternoon Drive yesterday, and I asked him about Vogt and the patience. Because to me, like, the hardest thing to have in baseball is patience. And you, of all people, as a coach, know, like, right? I mean, you're not dealing with professional athletes. You're dealing with high school kids. And so these are guys, yes, where winning is important at your level, But also at the same time, so is the teaching thing. They're still learning the game. They're still learning situations and how to handle them and things like that. To me, I think the hardest thing in baseball, especially as a manager, but even more so as a player, patience. And Underwood talked about how, hey, Vogt is extremely patient. He's the same guy day in, day out, no matter how things are going. Everybody in that clubhouse knows what to expect from Stephen Vogt.
Well, and that's the thing I talk about with consistency. You don't have to worry about, last year they were talking about it's right around this time, I think it was the other day, that was the 10-game losing streak. No panic. They win a big one yesterday. Today it won't mean much.
And then let's not forget, not only did they have the 10-game losing streak, but they lost 2 pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. And now, to
a gambling scandal. Like, it's not like you
so
lost
if you're gonna
guys
fold
to injuries.
Yeah, you're going to fold the tent. That's when you would have folded the tent. They don't. And
right.
that speaks to that consistency of the day in, day out. The old cliche, there's a couple that I really like, but controlling the controllables is exactly what I think the Guardians always do. Whether they lost last night or they got the big win, a big win can affect you just as much the next day as a big loss. And that's what they do very well, their consistency of how they attack. And you're saying like Fry coming off the bench with the big pinch hit home run. Doesn't have great average, but gets a big hit, timely hit. Those timing, that builds trust in your manager. Or I trust when he's bringing me in. For me, it just speaks to how they handle things on a day-to-day basis. They only worry about the day they're playing. They don't worry about too much what happened in the past. They don't think a couple days ahead. And when you do that, you don't have these highs and lows. And when you get into a big series like this, you don't have the highs and lows. You're sticking to your plan, which doesn't make you reach, doesn't make you press, and allows you to be patient.
I said the key for them in this series this weekend, just come out with a split. Like, just come out of this thing no worse off than you went in. Because, again, all about just treading water. Now, hey, if you end up winning 3 of 4 and take over sole possession of first place in the division, that great, fantastic. But just come out with a split. Well, 1 down, they got 3 chances to win 1 more, and you set yourself up to go into the All-Star break in pretty good shape, and you set yourself up to when Hosey does come back, whether that's at the end of the month, whether that's in early August. You're still going to be right there because I don't see the White Sox running away from this thing at all. And what's interesting about this particular series and what's fascinating about these two teams is because they're polar opposites of each other. The Guardians have the pitching. The White Sox have the hitting. The Guardians can't hit, but the White Sox don't have the pitching, right? And by can't hit, like they don't hit with consistency. I mean, last night I think they were like 1 for 9 or 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You mentioned the pinch hit home run by David Fry. Like again, that's coming up in a big spot when you're called upon. But this is going to be to me a very fascinating weekend because it's the Guardians' strength against the White Sox strength. Guardians pitching, White Sox hitting, and then it's White Sox weakness against Guardians weakness. They're pitching, Guardians hitting. Last night, Guardians hitting won.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at that. This shows my age, but I go back to the Bombers of the 95 Indians when they had 7-8 guys hitting over 300. I just think pitching wins, right?
You mean when Manny Ramirez was hitting like 8th in that lineup?
Yeah, he was hitting 311 with 40 bombs. So like for me, I always think pitching wins, and I think styles win. And for me, the Guardians, we talked about this a number of weeks ago. The Guardians know exactly who they are. All their players know exactly who they are. When you have guys who have a role, star in their role, you don't worry about anything else, and you're not worried about being left out or being, when a guy gets pinch hit for, he believes it, and that's okay. He's not down. He's like, all right, Coach Vogt thinks this can work. That's what these guys do so well. They don't worry about it. And once again, in baseball, if you can pitch, you always got a shot, and that's where the Guardians are at. And that's why I think down the stretch, when you think about getting Hosey back and Martinez back, they got a shot.
Unsung heroes, well, they weren't really unsung last night, but they were heroes. Not your everyday heroes stepping up in a big way. We're going to get into that. Also, the summer of LeBron continues, but clearly LeBron is not in a hurry to make a decision. He was trolling someone last night on X. We're going to talk about that. We got the audio for you as well. Going to get into that. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, the Wine and Gold Talk podcast, The Plain Dealer. He's going to join us at 9. We'll get the latest on where things stand with the Cavaliers. Where are they in the LeBron James sweepstakes? And, we have a timetable for this thing. We're going to, and also, too, a look around the league because it's been very, very active. Their former GM doing things in Philadelphia. We're going to get into that. It's the Ken Carman Show. Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the boys on a July 3rd with you here on the Fan Till 10.
Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com.
Back with you on The Fan. It's the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. Ken and Anthony will be back after the holiday weekend. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland with you this morning. Celebrating a big Guardians win last night. They beat the White Sox 6-5. Brian Rocchio walking it off with a 2-run homer off the foul pole. Guardians win. White Sox lose. We have a tie atop the American League Central Division. October baseball in July, except for it's a blast furnace outside. It was a little toasty this morning walking in. So my advice to everybody, hydrate. Drink lots of water. And, wear sunscreen.
Yeah, you got to come in. Yeah, the studio is always nice and cool. It's like
That's why I'm in long sleeves.
As am I. I got shorts and long sleeve. You walk in from the furnace. It's comfortable in here. It actually seems a little cooler because it is a tad toasty out this morning walking in for sure.
Yeah, so hydrate and wear some sunscreen. It's also, I think, tomorrow's the wedding, right? The Kelsey Swiftie wedding, I think, is tomorrow. Even though I think they've already been married. That's my big conspiracy. I think they've already been married. It's already done. They're just going to do whatever they're going to do for show, and that's what it's going to be. I think they're already married.
I don't know. You rent out if you're
Come on, you're an Eastsider. You're supposed to have this scoop for me.
If you're
oh wait, no, that's Baskin. That's my fault. I keep forgetting. Baskin's the official Kelsey family correspondent.
I mean, if you rent out Madison Square Garden, though, you better everything better be done there. I mean, that's all I gotta say. I mean, that's quite a. It's not a church. It's the Madison Square Garden.
Actually,
could you just imagine? Oh my goodness!
How dare you? How dare, Coach? You really stepped in it this morning. Don't let them hear you say that in the Big Apple. That is the cathedral of basketball. You're right. It's not a church. It's a basketball cathedral. That is the home of the 2026 NBA champions. By the way, I just want to up Chuck saying
Who makes that call, by the way? I don't think Taylor picked Madison. Who makes that call? It's not Travis.
No.
Who makes that call?
No.
Yeah, tell me.
She made the call.
You think so? For Madison? I don't know.
All right. Your job is the groom is to show up in a tux and say, I do. The rest of it's the show for her.
I mean, I'm saying, though, so money's not an issue.
Kayla, am I correct about this? She's nodding. She's yes, I am right.
But wouldn't you pick somewhere else, though, if you're...
No, she wants as many eyes on her as possible with as many butts and seats as possible.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, see?
Where else?
It's
all right.
Yeah, again, I mean, that's how the weddings work.
Still business on wedding day is what you're saying. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. That's fair.
There's probably going to be like sponsors on a backdrop behind her, like
this
promos
wedding.
For a CD.
The Ring Bearer presented by Insert Jewelry Company here. And then the Vows presented by Insert Bookstore here.
There's going to be a T-shirt, guns, and merchandise tables.
So
they said I'd fire
they're not
off
paying
the
for much,
T-shirt
is what you're
cannons.
saying. You're saying they're not paying for much today, is what
She's
you're saying.
going to try to get as much back as she can.
All right.
I think they're spending a lot of money, too.
Okay.
They gave a lot of money away, too. But, yeah. And then also Joey Chestnut. Is that today or tomorrow that he's going to do the hot dog thing? I always forget.
It's 4th of July. It's on 4th of July.
So he's going to do it tomorrow. Okay.
I used to watch that when he used to go against Kobayashi.
Gross.
Remember that one?
Yeah, gross. The whole thing's gross.
75 hot dog. I mean, I can't watch it.
I'm proud of myself. I've never watched it.
Oh, I've watched. It's actually, I don't know how. I mean, it's something.
I don't want to watch people eat food.
Looks like a hot dog.
Yeah, I do not. I don't want to watch people,
especially 8 of them, 10 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to watch what was speed eating. What's that called? Competitive eating. No, hard pass. Not interested.
That or World Cup. You got to watch one for 4 hours. What are you doing?
World Cup all the time.
Okay.
And I've not watched a single minute of the World Cup. My World Cup consumption has been limited to the reels on social media of the fans because I just love the energy, the positive energy, which I think our world desperately needs right now from all the visitors across the world. And then also, too, the highlights. Like listen, I can watch a 3-hour World Cup match in 20 seconds on my social media feed. I got to see I got to see the goals. I saw the red card the other day. I saw the penalty kick the other day. I'm good. Like, I know what happened. I don't need the other 98 minutes and 30 seconds.
I tell you
Don't need
what,
it.
I got sucked in a little bit the other day. The pageantry, that was actually, we watched it a little bit, my wife and I didn't, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge soccer guy, but I was actually it's kind of like the Olympics. I don't watch luge very often, but I will watch it every 4 years. So I was kind of sucked in.
You know what? You strike me as a big curling guy.
Did you tell me you didn't watch a little curling this? I mean, you're right. I watched a little curling this year. I watch things done at the highest level I can appreciate. So watching the pageantry of seeing 49ers Stadium sold out, people going nuts for USA, I watched it. I got sucked in. It was pretty impressive, fun to watch. I'm not watching Major League Soccer or whatever it is, but I enjoyed watching the U.S.
I do, though. On my bucket list is to do curling. Like the broom thing where
I want to be the broom guy. I don't want to be the guy. I can't do it, but I want to be the guy who brooms. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to do that. That's something I've got to try before.
Does that slow it down or speed it up? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I got to figure that out. That's
to like
You're sweeping off like the layer of frost, so they're making the trail of
smoother.
where they want it to go, and it's
they're creating like a tunnel.
it's almost because you can't see it, but that's what they're doing.
I
want that job. I'm with you. That's the job I want in there because they're frantic when they do it.
Yeah, I don't want to throw the rock. Or slide the rock, or whatever that term is. Yeah, I don't want to do. I want to be the guy on the going down the line.
I'm way too hyper for the rock. That guy's got to be really patient. I'm more the guy just grunt labor. That's what I need to be over there for sure.
Did you say grunt labor?
Grunt labor, absolutely. That's what I'm good at.
So are the Guardians. I mean that's how they play baseball. And they did it again last night. Let's give Daniel Espino his flowers out of the bullpen. 1 2/3 innings. He was absolutely fantastic. It was his longest outing of the year. You got to go back, I want to say, to 2022 because, dealing with injuries and that. But he was fantastic coming out of the bullpen, settling things down. We mentioned Stephen Kwan, the outfield assist. Got to give David Fry credit with the pinch hit home run. Obviously, Rocchio, the walk-off. We're not sitting here talking about Cooper Ingle this morning. Like, a little rough start for him in left field. But I think the low-hanging fruit on that would be to pick on that kid. And I can't bring myself to do it because he's not an outfielder by trade. He's a catcher. And they brought him up because they need a bat desperately in the lineup, and they're hoping that offensively he can help them out. Yeah, he had the boneheaded play the other day. Listen, I grew up watching Manny Ramirez, okay? That guy had a boneheaded play pretty much every day he took the field. This is a guy that would run from second to first on base hits. This is a guy that would cut runners off in the outfield. He would cut throws off, okay? This is a guy who had no idea where he was at any given time. This is a guy that one time asked Paul Hoynes to finance a motorcycle for him or something, okay? Like, he wanted to borrow money from Hoynesy. This is a guy that gave the clubhouse attendants his paycheck, or tried to give clubhouse attendants his paycheck because they went and got his car detailed for him or something. That guy's a bonehead, and he just became lovable because of it. It turned into, well, that's just Manny being Manny. Now, I hope this doesn't turn into, well, that's just Cooper being Cooper. We don't want that. But I can't sit here and, dunk on Cooper because he's making mistakes in the outfield. I think he had 7 innings or something like that in the outfield down at AAA before they called him up. But he's kind of like a fish out of water right now. He's a natural catcher. They're playing him in the outfield. He dropped the fly ball last night, and just everyone was just killing this kid on social media. The low-hanging fruit is just to absolutely kill this kid right now. I can't bring myself to do it.
Well, when you speak of Manny being Manny, that became cute because you also got 40 home runs and 140 RBIs or whatever it was weekly. So you can be Manny being Manny. You're right. You set him up for failure. Going back to what you said about, the speaking to how the Guardians do things. So Stephen Kwan really struggling at the plate. Once again, how they handle things. They don't get too high, too low. It doesn't affect him in the field. And you always hear about things, one side of the, if you're not hitting well, does it affect your defense? That has never been the case with Kwan. So yesterday, that's when you talk about like Guardians and Guardians ball, and everybody says that defensively, that's exactly how it is. He can't hit it all, and yet he still makes a huge play in a big game in the moment that it called for. And then Espino, I've never seen a guy who throws an easy 100. He doesn't even look like he throws a 99 to 100 over and over. It's impressive. The way they handle pitching is super impressive to me. But again, just how the Guardians do things on a daily basis is always impressive to me.
We had Jim Bowden on the other day. I was in with Jonathan Peterlin, and he's like, I would have sent the kid down immediately for throwing the ball into the stands and not realizing how many outs there were, and it ended up costing the Guardians a run, which ended up being the deciding run in the game. I know the Texans tacked one, or Texas tacked one on, but after that, but like I can't. He's in a tough spot. They're asking a lot of him to play a position that's not his natural position, and I don't want to blame Stephen Vogt for that, because Vogt's trying to make the most of like what he's given to work with here. But you almost have to blame the guy that put him out there. Don't blame the kid for being in this situation. I'm not going to blame. I'm going to say the organization, because I don't think that they did a good enough job preparing him to play left field at the major league level. Last night it didn't cost him. The other night it did cost him. So again, the low hanging fruit here is to make a bunch of Cooper Ingle, can't play left field jokes. Not going to do it. Again, we're keeping it positive this morning. Guardians walked off the White Sox last night. Brian Rocchio with the 2-run bomb off the foul pole to send everybody at the ballpark home happy. The Guardians now back in a virtual tie. The series continues with the White Sox. It's a 4-game weekend series. It continues to tonight. And I think that there's a lot to feel good about this Guardians team right now. We're going to get into that next, because I even at 4 games over 500.
and 92.3 The Fan. Keep us locked in all weekend long for breaking news on the Cavs and around the NBA.
Baseball talk on 92.3 The Fan, presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi, one price, 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. A lot of baseball talk this morning, and for a good reason. Showdown with the Sox. Round one goes to the Guardians. Brian Rocchio walking it off. 2 out, 2-run homer. Doinking it off the foul pole. That thing was a moonshot, too. I mean, you hear high and deep on broadcasts all the time. It's high, it's deep. That was high and deep down the line.
Yeah, it hit top of the pole, no doubt.
Halfway up the foul pole, and the Guardians able to rally and take down the Chicago White Sox 6-5. They're now in a virtual tie for first place in the American League Central Division at 46 and 42. Chicago is 45 and 41. Game 2 of the series is tonight at the ballpark. Should be a lot of fun. But they don't win that game without Espino out of the bullpen, locking it down. They don't win that game without Stephen Kwan. The big outfield assist. Gunning the runner at third base. Had him out by a mile, too. I mean, now just an absolute seed from Stephen Kwan, who's struggling at the plate, but I got to give Kwani his due here as well. He might be struggling at the plate. No, okay, he stinks at the plate. All right, he's awful. Okay, I can't bring myself to soften that.
Thing sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. Kwani he's hitting 216. He's hitting the area code right now.
I never saw that coming.
By the way, the rest of the Guardians lineup is hitting sub the area code right now. But Kwani's hitting 216 at the plate, but he's not allowed his defense to suffer. Okay, he's still playing at a Gold Glove level out there in the outfield. Big play last night to short circuit a White Sox rally late, and then that gave the Guardians the opportunity there to rally in the bottom of the ninth and win. You know, the best wins, I forgot who posted this last night. I saw it on X, and I had made a note of it because I thought it was so great. They said the best wins are the walk-offs, the blown saves, walk-offs, and the worst losses are also the blown saves, the walk-offs. And in this case, one of the best wins of the year for the Guardians last night, walking it off. I think second time this year that they've walked it off, which that's this time, like, we're in July. They're a little off the pace.
Yeah, they usually have a bunch, but looking back to 216, looking back over the years, yeah, they usually have a bunch. I agree with you.
Yeah, they need to up the walk-off game this year. They're off the pace, if you will. Usually by this time they're like double digits, right? They usually have like 20 of those things in that ballpark. But big win for that. I don't like making a big deal out of series in July because there's so much baseball that has to be played. I go back to used to talk to Terry Francona about this when he was here, and he would regale us with stories of his time throughout the big leagues. A lot of those stories I can't share on the air. But no, he would talk about when he managed the Red Sox and just how life and death every game was in Boston. Like, one day he is the smartest manager alive and should have a lifetime contract, and then the next day Red Sox Nation wants him run out of town. And he's like, it really is a roller coaster in Boston with those, with that fan base. And he kind of credited that with, like we were talking about earlier, Lance, the even keelness that we've seen, not only from him when he managed the Indians and Guardians, but with Stephen Vogt as well. And the don't get me wrong. I love the videos of managers losing their you-know-what. I absolutely love it. Managers getting thrown out of games, some of my favorite video content ever, right? We don't get a lot of that these days. But like with Voter, he's so consistent day in and day out, for better or for worse, no matter how ugly it is, no matter how beautiful it is, how seamless things are going. He's the same guy. And I admire that because that's not me. I ride the roller coaster. For better or worse, I do ride the roller coaster, not him. And I don't know how he does it, but and especially with the lineup that he has to work with.
Well, I mean, Kwani's a great example. So Kwan is a guy who is a guy who you think of as a 300 hitter. I know I do. So he's a guy who's struggling right now mightily, but he can only control what he can control, and that speaks to Vogt not putting pressure on his players when they're not doing something. As long as they're putting the effort and going through the routine and being consistent and being relentless with what they do, you can't control everything. One thing you can control, that Kwani can control, is his defense. So as badly as he's hitting, he doesn't seem to be pressing. And the reason you don't press is because your coach, I don't care what sport it is, has your back and has said, listen, you're not hitting very well right now. It's obvious, but you're going through the routine. You're going through what you normally do. You're doing everything you can to get back to where where we think you can be. But when you don't press, then you get to still be the Gold Glover, which is going to, for this team, once again, it's making the play when it's presented to you, making the big assist in the outfield, getting the big hit like Fry. That's what this team's kind of based on. So you can't really look at the averages. You can't really look at all the normal stuff because that's not how they're built. And that starts with their manager for me, because there is a sense of even keel, which helps you through the highs and helps you through the lows. And that's, that you look at Chicago today. How did they respond today after that big loss? Doesn't mean anything to the Guardians. They're coming back.
Oh, I hope the White Sox just absolutely implode from this now.
Well, and that's what you get the idea of what.
I don't care how the White Sox
that big win, that big loss. If the Guards were to lose like last night, it still wouldn't affect them today. That's been proven how now Vogt manages, and I think that's key because once again, a big win like that, you can also come back the next day and not go through your normal routine and do those kind of things. That won't happen with this team. They're going to stay the course each day, control what they can control.
Nick's in Massillon. Good morning, Nick.
Morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Doing good.
Daryl, I had a question for you, bud.
Hopefully I haven't answered. If not, I'll make one up. Go ahead.
Oh, you do? Okay. I agree with you totally about Cooper. The kid was put in a bad situation. It's the big league. Yeah, he made a boneheaded move. I get it. But the thing is, with Cooper, you show him leniency, but when Dylan Gabriel was thrown in that same position last year, put in a game that he never should have been in a position that he didn't ask for, this whole radio station especially, you crucified the poor kid.
Well, because I
don't understand that.
Well, because he actually is a quarterback. Like, it's not like he was a wide receiver playing quarterback. Cooper is a catcher being put in the outfield. It's not his natural position. Dylan Gabriel was playing his natural position.
Is it fair to crucify the kid? He was out there doing the best that he could. He didn't ask to be put in that position.
Yeah, he did.
He was thrust into it.
Yeah, he did. He went in the NFL draft. Yeah, they gave him first team. They gave him first team reps. He's the first dude I had to watch him practice. He's a third round pick that they acted like he was a first round pick. So yeah, I mean that's
so they acted like so you. I don't understand.
Why would you treat a third round pick when you got other veterans? Why would you give the third round pick the first reps of practice? Like it was the dumbest thing ever.
What does that have to do with anything with the poor kid? The kid didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for that. They did that with him. He didn't ask for that. He didn't ask to go overseas and start in a game that he wasn't ready for. And you guys crucified the poor kid.
Yeah, it was awful. Did you not watch the games? Did you not watch the 5 games he started last year? Did you enjoy? Did you enjoy the 5 games he started?
Better than Shador? Were his numbers in this season better than Shador? Because they both stunk.
Well, of course they did, but Shador at least was entertaining.
But yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the statistics were better than Shador, but you guys think Shador is the greatest thing since walked on water.
Actually, I don't. But thanks for the call. No, I don't think Shador's the greatest thing since. What do you say? Walking on water?
Yeah, you know what? And I'm gonna say this.
Wait, I think there's only one person in history that's walked on water, allegedly, according to a book that is centuries old.
Well, as you know,
he also turned water into wine.
I will say this:
split loaves of bread and fish.
As you know, I am a Dylan fan, And I thought when Dylan got in, that tells you the highs and lows.
Wait, how
right?
did Cooper Ingle turn into a Dylan Gabriel
I don't know.
conversation?
So what I'm saying, though,
listen, I swear to you, I swear to you, I did not wake up this morning wanting to talk about Dylan Gabriel at all. Okay?
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Okay. Just saying.
So, and I'm going to drop it right here, but the comparisons weren't the same for what you said. That's all I'm going to say. Dylan Gabriel was thrown into a bad spot. He didn't produce. Shedeur struggled. Once again, my point was, I don't think it's the same because Dylan wasn't asked to, be a tailback. That would
Right.
be that we meant. Now, I don't think Dylan played. You can't categorize everybody. When Dylan did good things, we've said some good things about Dylan. I'm a Dylan fan. He's got to be more impactful when he plays. It's
Yes,
very, very
when
simple.
Dylan completed a pass, I did this.
And I'm in, and I don't have any narratives, and I like Dylan, and I think he can be successful. I do, and I know I'm on an island with that. But the comparison I didn't think was the same, right? Because
No.
that's all.
Cooper Ingle's a catcher that's being asked to play the outfield right now, and the reason he's being asked to play the outfield is because they don't have any outfielders, and they needed an extra bat in the lineup. Like I think it's an apples to oranges comparison that he was trying to make there. I understand what he's saying. We killed Dylan Gabriel because Dylan Gabriel was terrible, but yeah, he was a quarterback playing quarterback in the NFL, and he wasn't very good. So,
Well, and
yeah.
there are some circumstances with it. Make no mistakes about it. He did. Everybody.
To me, see, that's where I disagree because there were no circumstances. They did prepare him for that spot.
Absolutely, but
They prepared him for it.
But you got to have people around you. And once again, it's the same thing with it. Once again, as a quarterback, as a coordinator, as a head coach, you always get too much blame. You always get too much credit as well. But if you don't have a narrative going in with who he is, that always helps with the quarterback evaluation.
All right,
Let's get back with the Cooper.
Yeah. Let's get back to picking on the guy we're supposed to be picking on this morning. Guardians' big win last night. We'll continue talking about this big series with the White Sox and what it could mean for the trade deadline. Could this be the year they push the chips to the center of the table? Should they, shouldn't they? It's the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. No Ken and Anthony. It's Daryl and Lance with you till 10 on The Fan.
tip of the hat to the bullpen. Holy cow. Daniel Espino, unbelievable. Hasn't pitched that much in, 4 years? We needed him to do that tonight with where the bullpen was, and we needed Slade to give us a couple more outs, and unfortunately didn't do it. But then Daniel, Sean, and Timmy did not let them get anything else going. So a lot of good things to talk about and a lot of things to work on from tonight.
That was Stephen Vogt. Happy camper after last night's win over the White Sox 6-5. Brian Rocchio walking it off there in the bottom of the ninth. He's right. A lot of heroes last night. That's the quintessential team victory there, Lance.
Well, yeah, and everybody's a part of it. Bazana gets 2 hits again. Lauder had a hit. Fry comes off the bench, gets a big, kind of gets him back in it, right? At 5-4.
That's 7th inning,
Yeah, 5-4. Then you feel like you're back in it. And just Bailey had 2 hits last night. Again, Quan doesn't hit, but he makes a big outfield assist. Never get too high, never get too low. It's just, for me, like, it's when I watch baseball sometimes and you see a score that's 5-2, 6-2, whatever it may be, you're always like, okay, this one's over. Not with the Guardians, and that's because the kind of the mentality they have each week. But yeah, a lot of guys getting key hits, guys making big plays in the outfield, rookies making, being a huge part of it. Espino, who hasn't pitched in, really a lot in 4 years, gets put in a situation, does a great job. So just kind of how the Guardians do it. They, as I said last week, they're the only team I've ever watched that are always rebuilding and in contention each and every year. Yeah,
Gavin Williams will be on the bump tonight. They need him to kind of get back to his consistent self. It's not been as smooth for him recently, but if he can look like the Gavin Williams we've come to know, like the matchup tonight, although the White Sox sent in a lefty, Anthony Key, against the Guardians. So, game 2 of the series. Saturday, Parker Messick, who I think should be an all-star for the Guardians, against Sean Burke. And then the series finale on Sunday, Tanner Bybee against Eric Fetty, so in a battle of right-handers. So those are your pitching matchups for the rest of the weekend. I said the Guardians just needed to split the series, get out of the weekend no worse off than you went into it. They got one last night, one they probably shouldn't have gotten, but they did. And so now you got 3 games to get one more. And look, if you can take 3 or 4, that's gravy before you hit the road there before the All-Star break. But that was a big one in my view for them to get last night. They've struggled since Hosey went down. I think they've won just 1 series since Jose Ramirez went on the injured list there. And so, again, this is just all about treading water until he comes back. And, we talk about the trade deadline coming up. The Guardians / Indians organization, historically, they have not been they've not been a team that goes all in. We saw it in 2016 when they traded 2 or 3 of their top prospects to get Andrew Miller. And we all know how big Andrew Miller was for that team in that World Series run that they were able to make. But this is not an organization that makes big splashes like that on a consistent basis. And you look at the parity right now in the American League, nobody's running away with anything. They got like 6 teams that are above 500. Earlier in the week, it was just 4 teams above 500. The Guardians are +4, the White Sox are +4, but there's no dominant team in the American League this year. The Red Sox are trash. The Yankees are, doing what the Yankees typically do in the American League East. But I mean, it parity all around in the AL. And there's kind of part of me that looks at the Guardians farm system as like, man, they really are loaded with prospects they've got some flexibility. They could do some things. And I really, really would like to see them make a move at the deadline significantly. We talked to Matt Underwood yesterday, Jonathan Peterlin and I, on Afternoon Drive. And I asked Matt about that, and he said, well, they're not a move away. They need a power arm in the bullpen. They need, obviously, they need bats. plural, not just one. They need multiple bats in this lineup. But I kind of feel like this is a year where you could be aggressive, and if you're aggressive, it could pay some big dividends. That's like the easy thing to say. The reality, though, is there is so much parity. There are so many teams right now that I think talk themselves into being in it when they're really not in it, if that makes sense. Like, they're doing what we always do with the Browns in November. Like, the Browns will be 2 games below 500 in November, but we're like, they're still mathematically alive for the playoffs. Like, it's Thanksgiving weekend, and the Browns are still not eliminated from playoff contention. They're on the outs, they're on the periphery of the playoff picture. Well, the Guardians are not. Look, I think the Guardians are going to win this division because I don't think that the White Sox are going to hold the line the rest of the way here. But I just feel like this is the year, Lance, where putting the chips in the middle of the table there, it would be nice to see.
Well, I'll tell you what. I really think the success they have here, if they can tread water or stay above, be a game or two up. That kind of how they've done things in the past, I think they'll think of Jose and Martinez coming back as their deadline pickup.
I'm not even thinking about them being up in the division, though. I'm thinking, like, be within 5 games of first place.
I'm saying if they were 5 games back, I think that's a better option than if they're – and you want them to be successful, but the more successful they are, I think they'll think of it as, hey, we got Jose coming back. We're 5 games up, and we got Jose coming back. And, they think, like, Bazana is now turning the corner. DeLauder
so you're saying it'd be better if they're behind because then they have the urgency to do something.
Because they know that we're 5 behind if we go out and get a big bat. If they're 2 up, the way they've thought, and I'm not against that because their formula, even though I don't always like it, has been successful. So there's at least proof in what they do. And if they say, hey, we're 3 or 4 games up on the way we do things, and now we're bringing back Jose, now we're bringing back Martinez, now we're going to make this big run because we assume now that they've been gone a month, maybe Bazana gets hot, DeLauder stays hot. Maybe Rocchio is now the playoff Rocchio is now always Rocchio kind of thing. So that's what I think. I just don't think they will because of what you said. I don't think there's everybody's in it too much, and everybody believes they can still make a run, so they're not getting rid of a big bat. And the Guardians just kind of work the way they work, and I don't always like it, but I like plans, and they stick to their plan. And I think that's what they're going to, especially if they're a game or 2 up. I don't think they make a move at all.
They're consistent in their philosophy. Mm-hmm. They are consistent in their approach organizationally, and they're also consistent in how they play on the field as far as, like, the success that they have. Like Chase DeLauder, I didn't even realize he had an 11-game win streak or hitting streak. Like, and that's because he missed time. Like, he was on the injured list, and the hit streak goes all the way back to, like, early June, obviously, because he missed time. Like, I didn't even realize he had an 11-game hit streak. He's for a young player, he's actually been mostly consistent. Like, he had the real hot start, and people were calling this radio station talking about how give him the 10-year contract, right? He had the 6 home runs right out of the gate, and everyone got real excited. And I was like, well, let's there's going to be an adjustment period here. At some point, they're going to find a hole in his swing, or they're going to adjust to his approach at the plate. And we've seen that happen a little bit. But when you look at last night's lineup, he had the best batting average. Well, he's hitting almost 275.
And you cannot go outside as a coach, as an organization, whatever sport is. You can't go outside of what you do. When you go outside of what you do, then you don't know how to fix it. When you go outside of what you do, you're not really comfortable in that. And to go out and kind of splurge. Now, I would like to see them do it too, but I also don't want them to go outside of what they do because they've had success in what they do. When you have success, sometimes you get a little bit greedy. And when you get greedy, then you get outside of your norm. You get outside of what you're comfortable with. And what they've, they pitch, they develop. You don't always like it, but again, American League is not great. You got to get hot at the right time. If you get hot at the right time, you got pitchers. I know it's not what everybody likes, but it's kind of their formula. And as much as I want them to go get a bat, as a coach, the coach in me says, don't go outside your formula, right? Because you just said, like, guys, these guys know they have a shot every day to play. So that that drives how they prepare every day. That drives their attention to detail. That drives their like daily routine and how I'm going to get things done. I don't think they get outside their outside of who they are moving forward. I really don't.
Well, and it has worked for them. Like I think that's what's important is that they've had success.
Yeah, you see it.
You know, so they can fall back on, you know, we just need to keep doing what we're doing because here's why. See, where you run into trouble with that is when you don't have the results, because then you don't have the evidence to support your argument.
There's no credibility. Yeah, exactly right. And that's exactly what's happened when you look at what they've done year in and year out. Like you said, when you're taken out for a pinch hitter, you're not mad about it. You're thinking it's a good situation to do this. Right. So that you're not down, you're not angry. That clubhouse seems like it's fantastic. That chemistry over the course of 7 months or 6 months they play, all those things matter. This is the way they do things. It's not always the way I like it, but the only bad plan is no plan. They stick to who they are. I'm okay with that because, like you said, there's proof that it works.
Well, Cooper Ingle couldn't have been mad about being pulled because he dropped the fly ball and then David Fry hit a home run.
Yeah. Well,
what's he going to be mad about?
Well, but then again, when Fry comes off, Fry knows, Ingle he's not going to be belittled when he gets off there. He's going to be taken off because he made a mistake. But it's the same thing. You made a mistake, learn from it, we're moving on. Today, it's not being held over till today. When Cooper Ingle gets there today, they're not thinking about what happened yesterday. They addressed it. They expect him to handle it. Will he get pinch hit again? Sure. If Fry's available in that situation, that's what they do. And you don't have to like it, but that's how they win. That's what they've done for a long time.
Yeah, and, David Fry's home run in the 7th inning just, breathes some life into it.
Yeah.
Because he stuck with Slade Ciccone, I would argue, for a little too long, and it bit him in the backside. But everyone, picked it up.
Yep.
They ultimately, picked up Vogt in that particular situation. Espino was great coming out of the bullpen. That's the most he's pitched. I want to say since 2022, he was with Akron. But again, that was, Vogt showing the belief in Espino to elongate that outing. Okay. And this, when you stick with guys, you're either going to be rewarded or you're going to be burned. And Vogt has been on both sides of that. That's just the day-to-day life of baseball. But last night, Vogt got burned by sticking with Ciccone. He got rewarded by sticking with Espino. He got rewarded by putting David Fry in a pinch hit situation. He's been, defensively, he's rewarded sticking with Steven Kwan. Everyone's saying bench Steven Kwan because he's not hitting. And Vogt keeps running him out there. And I know there are folks that are frustrated that he keeps running Kwani out there. But the reality is, if that play that Kwan made, that was massive because it prevented the White Sox from tacking on. 216-474-0092. It is the summer of LeBron. We're still in a holding pattern. LeBron doesn't really seem to have basketball on his mind, though. We'll get into that. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer, the Wine and Gold Talk podcast. He's going to join us at 9 with the latest on, I don't know, I feel like we're the meme, the do something meme with the Cavs right now. Waiting for them to do something, anything. We'll get the latest from Chris coming up at 9. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Risland in for Ken and Anthony here on The Fan with you.
Turn up the fan. Spend the summer with your home for Cleveland sports talk. 92.3 The Fan.
It's the summer of LeBron, part 4. It's July 3rd. We still have no decision from LeBron. By my count, my unofficial count, there are 4 teams in the mix. The Golden State Warriors, the Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, and the dark horse. I think they're a dark horse. I think the Philadelphia 76ers. After the Jaylen Brown trade, Mike Gansey, former Cavs GM, he's now the president of basketball operations for Philadelphia. Local kid, finished runner-up, Mr. Basketball, to some guy named LeBron James.
Homestead Falls, yep. Great career.
I think the 76ers now are a dark horse in the LeBron at 41 sweepstakes. All that said, though, I feel like we're all just everything is on hold for LeBron again. Clearly, LeBron isn't worried about it or isn't concerned about it. I guess him and Kevin Hart have been going back and forth, and Kevin Hart is shorter than Dylan Gabriel. And
there's no need to bring Dylan in there.
Dylan caught a stray.
Yeah, that was a stray.
I could have said shorter than Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Browns and 5'10" quarterbacks. They just love
one more
them.
time. Sorry, that last part.
I don't know what their infatuation with 5'10" quarterbacks are. Like, I laugh when I see the media guides and he's listed at 6'2", and then we'll do like a media scrum with them. And I'll be standing across from him like, I'm taller than this dude, and I'm 6 feet on the nose. Like, I am 6 feet on the nose. I might get to 6'1" if, like, I have my hair standing up more. If I can, like, get my hair to stand up, that I could probably touch 6'1". Or if, I don't know, maybe I put some lifts in my shoes or something like that, I could get to 6'1". But no, I'll be like, they'll be listed at like 6'2", 6'3" in the media guide. And we'll do the media scrum, and I'm like, I'm taller than this dude. Like, how is he 6'2", 6'3", but I'm 6 on the nose? Like, I what am I missing? Anyway, so I digress. So I guess LeBron and Kevin Hart have been having a playful exchange either in text message or on social media or something like that. We'd play the Kevin Hart portion of this whole thing, but it'd just be Morse code because I guess Kevin had big time potty mouth as he was expressing his point of view when it comes to the sport of golf to LeBron. So LeBron went shopping last night, and LeBron posted a video of him shopping for children's golf clubs. This is how concerned LeBron James is about his basketball future. This is LeBron James last night. This is a response to, I guess, Kevin Hart talking some smack to LeBron about golf, and so this is how LeBron James responded.
I'm in the golf shop right now, and I know we always take care of each other, so I'm about to get you some clubs. All right? I'm about to give you some brand new clubs, Kev, so when we go out and play again. All right, here go the clubs right here. I got you, Kev. Hey, Kev, look, I got you. That's the right setup? Hey, Kev, I got you right here. These are perfect, all right? I got you.
The club, by the way, that LeBron holds up in the video, it's like a children's putter. It's the smallest. It's like, I think it's the smallest club in the shop.
And it looks ridiculously small in his hands and standing with him. Absolutely.
Yes. So that should just give you an idea. While we're all like on pins and needles waiting for the big decision, wanting to know where LeBron James is going to play basketball for his farewell retirement tour. Is he going to come home and play with the Cavaliers for a third time? Does he go to Golden State and play with his NBA BFFs, Steph Curry and Draymond Green, which, by the way, that still boggles my mind to this very day. I don't know how you can lose 3 or 4 championships to those guys and then be like, hey, we're like best friends. Let's play basketball together.
It's old school mentality. I agree. It's more of like that's how the NBA is now. That's how, because they know each other from AAU and all this time. I'm with you, but I don't agree, but I understand it now, and I don't get it either. But
like when we retire, we can hang. But like right now, I hate your guts until the day I retire. That's just how I am. But that LeBron does not seem as concerned as we are. The fact that
tooted my nose up.
Did he hit that again? I got to hear.
I've never tooted my nose up.
That reminds me of Butch Davis. Butch Davis would do that with a walk in the cake. He had a lot of he would like mess up.
He's trying to mixing cliches. Is what he's doing.
Yeah. He would like scramble cliches on a regular basis. My favorite one though, the Butch did, would be the walk in the cake. But yeah, we're all concerned. Like, what's LeBron going to do? We're on LeBron Watch 2026, and LeBron is out there trolling Kevin Hart, getting children's golf clubs for Kevin.
Well, you got to.
I'm almost insulted by that, by the way.
I'm not, because he's at a place of comfort. And here's the thing about LeBron James: is it a basketball decision, or is there other things involved? And I've said this with other sports teams. The goal has to be
he's gonna do. Apparently, he's doing a documentary. The film crew is already with him in Akron.
You have to think about: is it helping you win a championship? And if it is, then you go everything you can to do it. I don't know. I think the whole package makes a ton of sense to me. But I think the idea of LeBron coming back and, I don't know. I think of LeBron as LeBron. And I'm not sure at 41, 42 years old if you can do that. Now, if any human can, it's been him. But I think you have to look at it more of his total package. And I don't know what the answer is. But I don't know if you're giving away some of your pieces. But we've said it here. We've said it on this show before. The Cavs aren't close right now to those top 4 teams. But you also have to understand they're in the top 4 teams. So it's like a balance of where do we make those moves? Where do we decide this is the move that gets us over the top? Or is it a move that moves you out of that top 4? That line is very, very close. And I don't know, and I don't personally know the answer because I don't know what LeBron at 42 is going to bring you basketball-wise. Yeah. I know he's going to bring you the total package, which is awesome. But that would be my worry, is that you're very close to getting over the top with him. Or if you get rid of some key pieces, getting out of the top 4 really, really quick.
Well, I maintain, I feel like LeBron wants to have his cake and eat it too in his retirement tour. He wants to go out and just have fun this year. But I also believe that he's torn. He's torn between I just want to, there's nothing else for me to prove. And that's absolutely true. There's nothing for LeBron to prove. And the ring counters out there will say, well, he didn't win enough NBA championships. And that in the era that he's in and the parity that you have now, we've had 8 different NBA champions in the last 8 years, okay? Golden State obviously winning 3 of 4 against LeBron and the Cavs from 2015 to 2018. That's really the last true NBA dynasty per se, okay? But that doesn't exist in today's game, even with the super teams that emerged with LeBron. Like when he went to Miami and he started that trend of the big 3, and then everyone around the NBA tried to copy that with the big 3. LeBron came back to Cleveland in 2014. What did the Cavaliers do? They put together their own big 3. They had Kyrie, add LeBron, they trade for Kevin Love. That's the Cavaliers' big 3, right? The Warriors had their big 3. So that the big 3 became a thing. The Cavs tried, in this iteration, they tried the core 4, right? And unfortunately, the core 4 has not led to the Cavaliers winning an NBA championship or getting back to the NBA Finals. But what it has done is it's returned them to relevancy, okay? And so I think that he is torn between the competitor in him, to what you're talking about, Lance, wants to win another championship, one for the thumb on the way out the door, but also at the same time, he's like, man, I'm leading scorer in NBA history. I've rewritten the record books. I've rewritten multiple franchises record books. What else is there for me to do, right, at this point? Let me go have fun. But then he falls back into I really, really want to win another NBA championship, or I want to at least play basketball that still matters on my way out the door.
Well, if you look at you're going through the Cavaliers, Warriors, Heat, 76ers. If you're thinking about winning a championship, obviously, if you're not getting rid of a bunch of pieces to get him, then the Cavaliers are the clearest shot to do that, right? To get them over the top. That would be just my opinion. If you look at the roster, where they've been, what they're doing, guys like Mobley getting into their true prime, things like that. But then again, you just said it. He's a billionaire. He's got 4 rings. He's written all these things. Like, I don't know. I feel when he came back, Cleveland got the ring. I feel satisfied, and I don't want him to come home if the idea of not winning a championship. But he's earned the right to do that, I guess. I'm at a tough spot for me personally because, you want the Cavs to be successful. You want them to win. And is he coming home simply because this is where he's appreciated, which is rightfully so. But winning the championship is maybe not the driving force. That would be a problem because then you're kind of just doing the sentimental thing, which is awesome because he deserves it. But then you're not another year with these guys, Mobley and all these guys, Donovan, not getting a championship. I don't know. It's a tough situation. I understand it either way, but if LeBron is not coming back, I don't think he'd want to be here unless he win a championship. So if he doesn't come because that's the case, I would understand that. If he goes to Golden State, simply wants to enjoy it on the way out. That'd be my call.
Yeah. If he returns to the Cavs, it's to try and win a championship and also wave bye-bye to everybody. If he goes to Miami, same thing. Mm-hmm. I think, they get Giannis this offseason. He won 2 championships down there. That's another try for a championship while waving bye-bye. Philadelphia, I think I'm going for another championship. They get Jaylen Brown this week. Mike Gansey just absolutely robbed the Boston Celtics blind. It was delicious to watch. Also, I think that's revenge for what the Celtics did to the Cavs when they got Kyrie Irving from Cleveland for Isaiah Thomas and a box of junk. So I think Philadelphia, that would lean heavier towards, because the only reason for him to go to Philadelphia would be to try and win another championship. Like, there's no LeBron Philadelphia history there.
But of the 4 teams, you'd say the Cavs have the best chance to win the championship, right?
I think
roster makeup right now.
I think so. Roster makeup-wise, I think the Cavaliers are the closest, but I still feel like he wouldn't be the missing piece. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think the Cavs would be closest. The Giannis trade to Miami, to me, did not alter the Eastern Conference. I don't know necessarily that Jaylen Brown being traded from Boston to Philadelphia shook up the Eastern Conference as well, but it certainly improved Philadelphia's chances, okay, and created more parity within the Eastern Conference. Kawhi going back to Toronto, again, more parity in the Eastern Conference, right? And so the conference all of a sudden has gotten a lot more challenging. But LeBron back to the Cavs. I think I have an idea who is the leader in the clubhouse. And no, it's not the 2-foot putter that LeBron bought last night for Kevin Hart. We'll get into that next. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for Ken and Anthony. Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima till 10 on The Fan.
See website for details. MyFastCash.com is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
The mechanic called. The repair's going to be $750.
Oh, we got rent and the car payment. On top of groceries, gas, and other bills. We don't have an extra $750 right now.
We could try MyFastCash.com. When short on expenses, you can go to MyFastCash.com and can get money as soon as the next day.
MyFastCash.com?
Yes, they can connect you to one of the largest lender networks. And you can get a loan even with bad credit. We could be approved for up to $5,000 fast.
$5,000? That must be a long process.
Nope, approval can happen in just a few minutes right from your phone. And funds could hit our...
every stone and rock until you do find your guy.
Listen for Mary Kay Cabot from theplaindealerinCleveland.com. Tuesday mornings at 11 on Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Take the fan with you wherever you go. You listen to us on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Riesland in for Ken and Anthony. Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. With you till 10. Holiday weekend. Hope you're able to go out and enjoy the fireworks, the boom booms as I call them.
Yeah, let me turn my mic on there. I'm headed down to Akron tonight. See the affiliate for the Guards tonight. I'm looking forward to
the Rubber Duckies.
Yeah, we always try. Me, my wife, and my daughter. We always try to. I like seeing these stadiums are great. Get a good bite to eat. See a nice fireworks tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. We usually try to go once or twice a year to each of the parks.
I'm so happy the Guardians are in town because one of my favorite things to do on the 4th of July is to go to the upper deck concourse at Progressive Field and look out, and you can see all the fireworks displays in Northeast Ohio. You see them all. You start out to the southeast, and you just kind of do the panoramic view there, all the way up to the lakeshore, and you can see all the fireworks displays from that concourse. That is like one of my favorite things to do. And you get all the displays. And, of course, the Guardians do such a great – I mean, it's not just 4th of July, but, like, Guardians, like, just absolutely kill it when it comes to
they're incredible.
Post-game fireworks displays. They're always awesome and amazing. But that is one of my favorite things to do on the 4th of July is when the Guardians are in town. Like they are this weekend. They got the White Sox, so we talked a lot about that early in the show. But I love going up to the concourse after the game and just looking out and watching all the fireworks displays. What I don't enjoy about the 4th of July is it'll be July 5th, it'll be July 6th, it'll be July 7th, July 8th.
The boom booms are still going.
And everyone is still burning off the fireworks that they have acquired.
And that's we've had it for a couple weeks now already. People getting warmed up.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah. We've had some people getting warmed up. And neighborhood's great. Everybody's awesome. They get fired up for their fireworks. I'll tell you that.
We do love the boom booms in Northeast Ohio. Like the Guardians have their best attendance nights on fireworks night. Like if the Guardians did, they can't do it. I before I get texts and phone calls from people in the organization, I realize you can't do this every night. I'm just saying that if you were to do it every game, you guys would sell out the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you like fireworks, the whole organization does. We went to the captain's game a few weeks back, and we went for fireworks with my wife and daughter. Their fireworks are ridiculous, even there. And you get a great seat there. It's incredible there as well.
Also, do me a favor, do everyone a favor. If you are going to participate in your own personal fireworks display, please be safe.
Fireworks go into a motorcycle with me. I'm not doing it. I'm not setting myself up for failure.
Just be safe, okay? We don't want anyone having to go to the emergency room and having to have their hands put back together and things like that. So, if you are going to do it, and I don't endorse it, I want to be very clear. I'm not telling people to do things they're not supposed to be doing. But if you're going to do it, just please be safe about it. Be smart, be safe. Keep yourself out of the ER, and let's not have your hands be needed to be put back together. It is the summer of LeBron. Maybe the fireworks will go off at some point today. Maybe again, last night he was shopping for golf clubs. We play that, but you know what I think we need? There's 4 teams in my view. Okay, we've heard the 12 teams supposedly have called Rich Paul to express their interest. I mean, actually, it should be all 30 teams in the NBA, but probably it's 12 because there are 12 teams that think that they've got a shot at competing for an NBA championship next season, and I guess the other 18 are realistic and like, yeah, we have no chance, so we're not going to waste our time or our efforts to call LeBron, or we can't, just do it because of, salary cap reasons. But I think that there's 4 teams, maybe 5. We've heard Minnesota, we've heard Denver has, tried to kind of get in it. You know what I think we need to do, Kayla? I think we need to power rank the Summer of LeBron Part 4. I think that's what we need to do. Here we go. Okay. Number 4, the Philadelphia 76ers. They're a dark horse, but I do think they got a legit chance. But of my top 4 teams, I think they are 4 of 4. Number 3, I know they got Giannis. I know LeBron has won 2 rings. I know Pat Riley is the ultimate sales guy. But I got the Miami Heat as number 3. And because it'll be anticlimactic if I give you number 2, I'm going to give you number 1. Your Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that they are the favorites to land LeBron James, which leaves the Golden State Warriors number 2, which means Cavs v. Warriors. It's now a 3-2 series. Warriors got 3, and the Cavs get their second because LeBron comes home and they lose out. Those are my top 4 power rankings for the Summer of LeBron 2026. You want to rank them, Coach?
I do. I'll go. I'm a little different. Some are the same, but I'm gonna go at number 4. I'm gonna go Warriors because I think I'm assuming.
Really?
And here's why I'm saying it. I think LeBron, his competitive nature, he wants to win a championship. I don't think the Warriors can do that for him. 76ers are in 3rd place for me. Similar kind of thing. Even though they've addressed some things, they brought in, Jaylen Brown, etc. I just don't think they're ready to win a championship. That gives me to the 2 best teams that give him a chance. Also tie into his LeBron victory tour. We're going Heat and Cavs, and I'm with you. So we're on the same page. We're different 2 through 4, but I think the Cavs. I think he comes home to the Cavs. He gets a chance to win a championship. He gets LeBron. He likes to be known. He wants to be the center of attention. He gets it all right here in Cleveland.
Like, dude's got a film crew already hanging around with him. There's no other reason. He's coming home. Like, I'm talking myself into it.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to happen. Now, he's going to drag this thing out. Listen, all right, LeBron, we go way back. We really don't. But can you get this done? I need a favor. I need you to get this done by Sunday at 10 a.m. You're with me Sunday, right?
I am, yep.
We got the Sunday show here on The Fan. Then I go on my 2-week vacation.
Yeah, we need it around then. Just maybe do it right then for us.
I need you to go ahead and do this for me. Like, if you could do this one solid for me. All those times I used to wait for you to talk hours after games, your treatments and your stretching and everything you do, right? If you could do this before I go on vacation, please, pretty please, if you could do that for me. Have this done by Sunday. You know what? I'll give you an extra hour on Sunday, 11 a.m. Because we go off the air at noon. So Sunday at 11 a.m. If you could just make now. I don't know. Should we? I don't know how he's going to do it though. So we had in 2010 we had the national TV thing on ESPN. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. We had that.
That one hurt me, by the way.
It hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Then we had the Lee Jenkins Voice of LeBron letter that got published around noon on a weekday for his return.
Also hurt me in a good way. It was fantastic.
We had what amounted to be a tweet, right? We had a tweet that just said LeBron's going to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2018. I wonder how he's going to do it this time. You know what? Since he's trolling Kevin Hart at the golf store, he's got a video crew with him in Akron. I'm going to say he's going to do a video. That's going to be my prediction. He's going to jump on the Gram or TikTok or X or maybe all the above. I'm going to say he's going to do a video.
He's going to do a video hat reveal, like a college kid.
You say hat reveal.
Little hat reveal on the Cav hat, because he's
Does
always
he do the?
Yeah,
do we do the mixing up? Like, where's the ball?
Well,
Under which hat?
And then he picks up the Heat one and then throws it away and puts the Cav hat on. I'm going with the hat reveal because he always talks about college. He would have went to Ohio State. I'm going with the video hat reveal. Is what he's going to do.
He's going to like put the 4 hats there.
Yep.
These are the final 4. There's a Warriors hat. There's a Cavs hat. There's a Heat hat. There's a Sixers hat.
He fakes the Heat.
He fakes Heat and goes Cavs.
And then we all go crazy. That's
real.
That's what I'm going with.
I thought maybe he was going to troll Mike Gansey for a moment. Because he did beat him for Mr. Basketball. Maybe like start with the Sixers, toss it to the side, grab it. Nope. Do like a Lee Corso.
A little head.
and he goes, bleep it. Puts the Cavs hat on. Remember Lee Corso did that on live TV? 92.3 The Fan is looking for a winner. Enter the code WRESTLE at 923thefan.com before 9 a.m. for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Northeast Wrestling's Wrestling Under the Stars Friday, July 10th at Avon's Forefront Field. Get tickets at LakeErieCrushers.com. Brought to you by Wrestling Under the Stars and 92.3 The Fan. That's Wrestle. Good luck. Good luck to the Cavaliers in their hunt for not only fixing this roster and getting them over the top, but maybe getting LeBron James back. We power ranked. We saw eye to eye. By the way, it's Coach Riz and Daryl Ryder with you till 10, and for Ken and Anthony on the Ken Carman Show. Anthony Lima. We both have the Cavs leading our individual power rankings for the Summer of LeBron, Part 4, Episode 4, Version 4. This is the fourth time we've had to do this with him. And we both have him coming back to the Cavaliers. I guess he's got a film crew with him in Akron. The reports that he is going to do a Last Dance, I guess, style documentary for his final season. And I'm just trying to connect some dots here. He could be anywhere right now, anywhere in the world, to begin NBA free agency, and he has chosen to be in Northeast Ohio. And so I think that's edge Cavaliers.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. When you went, I've listened all week, and you hear all these reports, and it is, does he want to be with friends and have a good time, and does he want to win a championship? Those are the two, for me, those are the two factors. I don't know which ones are more.
Well, Rich Paul on his podcast dropped the happiness thing. So, so like, I kind of feel like happiness for LeBron, just the two times that I've covered him in his career. For me, I think happiness for LeBron isn't just the enjoyment of the game, but it's the ability to win a championship, the ability to at least compete to win a championship. And, I've said this repeatedly. I think he's torn. I think he's caught in the middle here with this whole situation between, because if it's just about hanging out with his boys and going off into the sunset, right, and doing the legit retirement tour, then I think Golden State makes perfect sense for him, although that just makes me want to up Chuck in a bucket somewhere. The thought of him putting on a Golden State Warriors jersey and playing with two guys that ripped 3 NBA championships from him. I could never do that, even like as a competitor. And LeBron is the ultimate competitor. It drives him. And so I don't know how friendship could top competition. For me, like, when that's your profession. Like, we can be boys when I retire. We'll go golfing. We'll like we did with the 2016 reunion. We'll go overseas and tour wineries and, drink and eat and be merry and all those things and, tell stories about the good old days and, like, that. Do that when you're retired. Don't go teaming up with those guys. I can't comprehend that. Now, I also understand that NBA players today are wired a lot differently. Everybody knows everybody and is friends with everybody. And yes, there is competition, but the days of it being Bird v. Magic, long gone. Like, it just that vitriol, that hate, right? Everyone used to hate the bad boy Piston teams, right? Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing, Knicks, Pacers, right? That was a knockdown, drag-out rivalry. Like, I don't think that those exist anymore in the NBA. And I think in some respects that's okay because you don't risk bad things happening during games, right? You don't want fighting. You don't want brawls breaking out and things like that. But I do miss that, like, that hate, that passion with those personal rivalries, and I just don't think they exist in the NBA. And then so if that's what it's about, you just want to hang with your boys, yeah, go to Golden State. They're not going to win the NBA championship. You can go and whatever. But I think not the place where he's is here. And I know what he said earlier during the season where I forget if it was a podcast or whatever, but he was like, yeah, he was at Memphis. He got not in trouble, but he was on the golf course. He was doing some golf podcast, webcast, YouTube show or whatever. And he made an offhanded comment about Memphis and not, nobody in the NBA likes going to play in Memphis or something like that. I'm paraphrasing here. But that was the theme. And he's like, heck, I don't even like going home to play. And everyone's like, oh, he's taking shots at the Cavs. And I think what he meant by that is like when he's home, there's the pressure of like everybody wanting something from him. And their hand out, hey, LeBron, can we get money for this? Or can you do this for us? Or whatever. Like, I do feel like that's real, but everyone took it like he was, throwing shade at the Cavs. And that's not how I read that comment. I think it's just when you're home, there's a lot of pressure that comes, with that a little bit. But seeing the videos that he's been putting up, him on the golf course, him at the golf store last night, like he doesn't feel like he's feeling any pressure right now. We're all waiting to find out what he's going to do. LeBron, it doesn't sound like he's got a care in the world.
In your opinion, I've been thinking about this since this kind of started. What tips it over to get him here? Is it a phone call? Is it a conversation with Gilbert or, whoever it is in the organization or in Cleveland or wherever it is? What tips the scale for him, in your opinion, like to get to where he wants to go? For me, it's a championship. I think he's thinking all these other things, but the reason I put Cavs is because Warriors, they got Wemby and Shea aren't going anywhere. And you think about in the East, he can get, he tips. I still think with him, the 76ers and Heat don't give him the same chance. So for me, I think that's what tips it.
I've got a pretty crazy take. I think the decision's been made.
Okay.
I think it was made weeks ago.
And now he gets to build it up with the camera crew and gets to do the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do. He's a very calculated person.
Professionally, his moves have been incredible for his life.
He is very, very calculated. And I make the joke all the time that Rich Paul's the real commissioner of the NBA. He's the one that's actually running the league, which is true. I mean, LeBron obviously is his most powerful client, his biggest client, right? But like Rich Paul does a lot of work behind the scenes when you're talking about helping teams facilitate trades, orchestrate, facilitate, semantics here, okay? However you want to phrase that. Rich Paul does a lot of work behind the scenes. And so I think that he wields a tremendous amount of power, but he doesn't wield more power than And I guess Rich is like he posted like a whiteboard or whatever of like all of the potential destinations. We'll get into that in a little bit, but like he just I feel like LeBron has the most power, but like Rich Paul, when you talk about like agents and player movement and that, he's the one that really has the power as well, right? And so I feel like this was already predetermined. I really do. I think that this was just like his move to the Lakers was predetermined. I do think in 2010, that was a legit deliberation because I remember standing on the corner of East 9th and in Lakeside and St. Clair there and watching the planes would fly. They'd fly into Burke. The SUVs would come up 9th Street and turn on to Lakeside to go into the garage next to the IMG building, and we'd be trying to like look in and see who was in the car. They'd have the tinted windows, so you had one chance to see like as they're coming up 9th Street to look behind the driver, right? And then the next day. Because I found it hard. I went next to the garage, so when they pulled in, I could hopefully get a good look at them coming in. But So I think in 2010 that was a legitimate deliberation. Like that wasn't predetermined. I think him leaving the Cavaliers was predetermined, but like where he ended up next, where he went next was predetermined. Or not predetermined. It just kind of came together with, the whole, okay, we're going to get Bosh, we got Wade, you come down, we now got the big three, we're going to win a bunch of championships. By the way, here we go, let me take this one, and this one, and Riley put the rings on the table, right? We know the story that the Cavs presentation was like largely a collection of like all their inside jokes with LeBron or whatever. And that ultimately ended up not being the right approach because LeBron was laser focused on what team is going to help me win a championship. Because, like, not just for ring culture, but like, that's his goal as a player. If he's going to be one of the all-time greats in the game, he's got to win championships. And so he went to Miami. So this one here, I think he's coming back. I think it's been predetermined. Whether or not he's waiting for the Cavs to make a move, I think that's the question. Is he sitting back waiting for the Cavs to make a move? Like James Harden right now is sitting back, allowing the Cavs to, whether it's get LeBron or whatever, like that's why James Harden hasn't signed a new contract with the Cavs. He's coming back to the Cavs, but he's sitting back letting Kobe Altman do what Kobe Altman needs to do.
Well, my thing is, when you talk about all the factors, and you're talking, if this is predetermined, for me, he's not turning off the competitive nature. He's not turning off the wanting to win another championship. Now, the other things have seemed to tie into this, but coming home, I know he has a lot of pressure here, but he also has a lot of family here. He also has being home, all the things that come with being home. So. When you talk about comfort and happiness and ability to win a championship, then it really, if those are the factors, then that's easy. But, as you were talking, I was thinking about when he went out to L.A. Well, he's going to go out to L.A. and retire there because he wants to get into Hollywood after he's done. But now he's leaving L.A. You never quite know with LeBron. You're absolutely right. He's very calculating. In fact, he's very business savvy. He's always making the right decision for him and his family and everything. So, however, I will say this. The reason I got him number one is not because I'm a Cavs, Cleveland guy for life and a Cavs fan. I just think for him, that competitive nature doesn't turn off. That doesn't happen in the West. You got Wemby, you got Shea. It's going to be tougher out there. You're in the East. You get this really good roster. Maybe you're the tipping point. I think it makes complete sense, everything we've talked about. I'd be shocked if he's not a Cleveland Cavalier.
I'm just looking at this this screen grab of a whiteboard. Rich Paul breaking down all the teams from Philadelphia to Miami, the Cavs, the Nuggets, the Spurs, Knicks, it's pretty in depth. I think this has been. I really do. I think that he's made the decision.
And you think so? That whole whiteboard thing, whole thing, dude. That's all for cameras.
It's all for the cameras.
It's all for the.
I think this thing
30
has
for 30.
been decided. I just had that epiphany in this segment as we're having this conversation, Lance. I had the epiphany. LeBron has made his decision. He's just not telling us. 216-474-0092. Where do you think LeBron's going to end up? Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer, the Wine and Gold Talk podcast. He's going to join us at the top of the hour, 9 a.m. Don't miss that. Yes, we're going to talk LeBron. We're also going to talk what's next for the Cavaliers at the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lammer. Rolls along. Daryl and Lance with you till 10 on the Fan.
The next chapter of Cleveland Browns football is here, and we want to invite you to be the first in. It's a new world-class stadium. It's a new era of Browns football, and it begins in
savings at bignissan.com.
You can now watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. Baskin and Phelps 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. Each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
Back with you on The Fan, Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the boys. They got the holiday weekend off. We'll be back with you Sunday morning, the Sunday show as well, 8 to noon. So if LeBron James could finally get this thing announced, I had an epiphany last segment. I think this thing's been decided. I think LeBron knows exactly what he wants to do. And he's going to tell us whenever he feels like telling us. I am convinced of this now. Lance, I've talked myself into it. We have a decision. We just have no idea what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, the idea that he is filming everything for this last, 30 for 30 things we watch on different shows and all those kind of documentaries, it makes sense, right? Because this leads up to the last year and what his decision is. And he loves the awe factor, the shock factor, the look at what I'm doing. I think it makes perfect sense that he goes through all this. He already knows what he's doing, but now he gets to kind of ham it up for his decision, which, again, for me, strictly as a LeBron fan and as a coach, I look at it, if winning is truly important, and it always should be at any level, it drives how you do things, then I think the Cavs make perfect sense. He gets to do all the things he wants to do and still fight for a championship. I don't see it any other place besides the Cavs. Even if you're not a Cavs fan, right, that's a hard argument not to go with.
So this is from the Game Over podcast. Rich Paul, he was breaking down all the teams. And he also said something very interesting. This is a quote. The Heat Central on X posted this quote from Rich Paul from the Game Over podcast, and we're working on. He broke down all the teams that are in contention for LeBron. Okay, and we're going to in a couple minutes we're going to play for you what he had to say about the Cavaliers. Okay, which again confirms my suspicion that I have the Cavaliers as the lead dog in this race, okay? But this just caught me off guard reading this quote from Rich Paul. Quote, who says this is going to be his last year? He's had that crew, the film crew, for the last 4 years. No one said this is going to be his last year. Also, once he got the green light from Savannah and Zuri, you can do whatever you want to do. And then he added he's heard from 10 to 12 teams since he made the announcement that he was done with the Lakers. And basically, he's heard from the entire NBA. I made the joke earlier, like the entire NBA should be calling Rich Paul trying to get LeBron James. And apparently that has happened, according to Rich Paul. And again, that's from the Game Over podcast. And again, we're working on getting you the audio of what Rich Paul had to say about the Cavaliers, but he's got a whiteboard on this podcast, video cast, whatever. He's sitting there with a whiteboard, and he, I guess, goes through and he breaks down every single team, including the Cavs, the Knicks, the Nuggets, just to name a few. Okay, the Warriors. The pluses and the minuses of why or why not. And one of the things that's on the whiteboard is golf. Golf is on the whiteboard. Because Dallas is included in this too, by the way. Okay. But yeah, very interesting. Like, I don't know. You know what? Maybe that's how this is going to be done. It's going to be on this podcast, this Game Over podcast thing, because Rich Paul's been doing a lot of media, if you will, whether it's like controlled media where they're controlling it, or it's national media, whatever. Like Rich Paul's doing like a lot of talking right now, a lot of talking. By the way, this Cavs segment is brought to you by Surfside Hard Iced Tea. Remember to enjoy responsibly. But I feel like the Cavs are the favorites. I'm making them the favorites. I'm talking myself into them being the favorites. That LeBron has made this decision. They are doing a big production over this, and they're going to tell us on their own timeline. I think I think he's coming back home. I really do. He's spending a lot of time in Northeast Ohio right now. He could be anywhere on this planet. He could be overseas. He could be in the Bay Area. He could be in wine country. He could be anywhere. He's in Northeast Ohio right now. I'm talking myself into this. See where I'm going with this, Lance? You see the wheels turning here?
Well, the thing that I like is, first of all, let's think about that. You could be anywhere in the world right now. That's the place you want to get to where you're like, I want to go here today. He can do that. But again, I will always come back to LeBron when he got here. When you hear about the stories of how he demands people to do things in practice and all that kind of stuff, kind of the striving for excellence. I think, once again, if you take all the bias out of it, what he wants happiness. He's comfort, comfort with home, all those kind of things. Got the okay from the true bosses in the family, which are your daughter. Which again,
that quote's very revealing from Rich Paul.
Absolutely,
that he's gotten the okay from Savannah, because there was a lot of conversation that, would Savannah be on board with coming back home or going back to Miami or going up to Golden State or Dallas or Philly. Like, because that is a consideration.
Absolutely.
He's got a wife and kids and responsibilities as a husband and as a father. We forget that. He's not just a basketball player, even though I think that that's the lens with which pretty much everyone looks at LeBron James. He's a husband and a father. And that also, I think, and should, I'm not saying that's a bad, it should factor into his decision, his family, not just professionally. I'm of the belief professionally he's torn between two worlds. Wants to try to win another championship, and then also too, he wants to go out and have fun in a blaze of glory. But this quote from Rich Paul, where he's like, "Who's to say this is his last year?" That's fascinating. That tells me it's probably going to be a multi-year contract. Maybe like a one-year deal with player options to follow it. And he'll say, "This is my last stop." So in other words, he won't say this is his last year. He'll say, "This is my last stop."
Well, I would say this. If you look at it that way, so right now when you said emotion, right? So he's included his family, which tells me it's for real, whatever he's thinking, because that's the most important thing is your family. But now I think both organizations when you talk about, for me, I'm thinking about the Cavs and the Heat, the best chance to win is where does the emotion and where does the basketball come in? And that's going to be a tough one for him and these teams, right? Where is he okay with coming in? Like, I don't see LeBron coming in and being okay. I'll be the second fiddle. I'm okay with scoring 14 a night. I don't ever see that happening with him.
Right.
Now, is he okay with coming in and say, I'm going to be okay if we're winning and I'm getting 14? Can he get, obviously he's proven Father Time wrong more than any other athlete ever has in NBA basketball history. Agreed with that. But there are a lot of tread on those tires too. And how much does emotion tie into the basketball decisions? It's fascinating on both ends of it. But when you talk about this would be the place where you can accept a little bit more emotion than you can the basketball, because we know what he can bring basketball-wise, not just as the player. The guy at practice, the guy in the meetings, the guy in film, the guy who understands what it takes to win, all those kind of things that are important. But the chemistry factor of this, bringing him in, how does he affect the chemistry both ways?
So, again, this is from the Game Over podcast. The fascinating thing about this, okay, we're all on LeBron watch. LeBron's agent is doing media openly talking about LeBron. I'm telling you, this thing's been decided. This is all cinema. I'm convinced this is all cinema. This is what Rich Paul had to say on the Game Over podcast about, the pluses and minuses of LeBron James coming home to the Cavaliers.
To the C-Town. Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, Allen.
You know what was nuts? When I was hearing, when they looked like they were in on Jaylen Brown, and they were talking about, like Evan Mobley would have to be in that deal. I was like, wait, why would they give up? You want Evan Mobley if you're...
They wasn't giving up Evan Mobley. Right, you have to worry about that. But here's it again.
LeBron fits perfectly on that team.
Okay.
Perfectly.
Well, what this is why I'm asking you. And we'll get to the end. Dan and Grant, which is the Gilberts, plus Kobe. He was there when LeBron won there. Big X factor. Let me talk to you about Brandon Weems. Brandon Weems is basically LeBron's brother. I don't know if you knew that. Now, he worked his own way. Nobody gave him anything. He's earned to be in the front office of the Cavs. He was a grad assistant in Kentucky, Oakland, LaSalle. He did everything on his own. He worked his own way there, and we're extremely proud of him. But that is a big feather in the cap. Big feather in
Cleveland.
Big feather because of Brandon Weems. Now, don't get me wrong. Dan and Grant and Kobe, we know them. I miss my guy, Nick Gilbert. I can only imagine what Nick Gilbert would be saying to me right now. Talk about the best guy to talk to. The best. Now, the negative is, and this is no offense to Harden, no Garland. Because he loves Garland like he loves Maxey.
You know, on the other hand...
Yeah, like that's interesting that he said that because Rich Paul also got Darius Garland out of here. So the fact that no Garland is a negative and it's James Harden here, I find that fascinating. This whole thing's fascinating to me. That Rich Paul, I can't. Don't worry, I'm looking forward to the final 90 minutes of our show together. I cannot wait to get home now to sit down and watch this. To watch this entire Rich Paul presentation. Because he broke down all the teams. The Knicks, Dallas, Golden State, Denver, Philadelphia. I've never seen anything like this.
What stood out to me, that whole thing, is when he said, when you were talking about how much control he has on trades and how the NBA works, when he said, oh, don't worry, they're not giving up Mobley. Did you hear the tone of his voice? Like, that wasn't happening. It wasn't like, oh, they weren't doing it. It was, no, they weren't giving up Mobley because he knew.
Yeah.
That's how I took that. And once again, I could be completely wrong. But
we spent all these weeks, they're going to trade Evan for Giannis, or they're going to trade Evan for Jaylen Brown. We were twisting ourselves into pretzels trying to, right?
And that tone right there is like, oh, they weren't trading Mobley. Don't worry about that. This is just that was cold. Like, this is exactly what's going to happen.
This is fascinating to me. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the final.
Absolutely.
85 minutes of our show. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer, the Wine and Gold Talk podcast. He's going to join us at 9. Going to get his thoughts on Rich Paul's. I've never seen this before. A super agent doing a step-by-step breakdown of the Summer of LeBron, Part 4, 2026 edition. LeBron Watch 2026 rolls on here on The Fan. Ken
92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
All guests appear on the 92.3 The Fan hotline, powered by Wise Hard Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright. On the road this summer? Get the most live sports talk in Ohio on 92.3 The Fan. Or binge our podcast on the Odyssey app.
Back with you on The Fan. And it's hitting the fan. Wow. This Game Over podcast featuring Rich Paul, who we all know, that's the super agent of the NBA, also handles LeBron James's business. Clips from this podcast of him breaking down LeBron's potential destinations, like the cinema. Fascinating stuff. By the way, it's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for Ken and Anthony. I am presented by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. I usually pop on the morning show, around 8:20 every Friday. But this is like fascinating stuff from Rich Paul as he is breaking down. Like, I've never seen this before where a player's agent just like there's a whiteboard too, and he's like the pluses and minuses of all these potential destinations. Now, we power ranked our top 4 early in the show, and if you miss that, you can use the rewind feature on the Odyssey app, powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. We did that at 7:45. We power ranked our Summer of LeBron Part 4 / Episode 4 / Summer of LeBron 2026 edition. Lance and I, we power ranked. We both said the Cavs. That's where we think he's going to end up. I had an epiphany earlier this hour. The light bulb went off. It's still flickering right now. That's what happens with me. It just flickers. But it went off, and I'm like, he's already made this because these clips started surfacing from Rich Paul here. I'm like, this decision's been made. It's already been decided. He knows exactly what he's doing, where he's going to do it, how much he's willing to do it for. I mean, he's out last night trolling Kevin Hart at a golf store, joking around buying kiddie clubs for Kevin Hart. Like, yeah, he's not sweating this. Not like you and I are, Lance.
Well, I tell you what, before we left, I said not giving up Mobley. In my mind, I'm thinking as well, did LeBron say weeks ago, this is kind of, obviously he's going to have input on coming back and some, not his demands, but like what makes this attractive to him. And maybe he said, Mobley I need Mobley here.
Yeah.
Right. Because when Rich Paul says, he wasn't going anywhere. And just the tone of what he said that makes me think, yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did kind of have this all planned out because maybe LeBron's saying, I need Mobley. I need this roster. Maybe that's why Dean Wade, who I really like, is let go. Maybe this whole thing kind of has a, the path has already been created for what LeBron needs if he's going to be here.
Michael's in Avon Lake. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Daryl. And it's Andrew is the other one, right?
It's Coach Riz.
Oh, Coach Riz. Oh, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Well, hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we know he's listening because everyone's always listening. So good morning also to Your Majesty, Mr. LeBron James. Welcome back to Northeast Ohio. I just want to start off by I have a unique perspective on this. 2007, I grew up here in Avon Lake, Cleveland. Watched him, went to the Shaq game where, one of the kids who played high school basketball in Avon Lake switched to St. Mary's to play with LeBron. Corey, I can't remember his name, the white kid on the team, but he was an awesome shooter. He's like a motivational speaker now. Anyway, I moved first. I went out to L.A. My family, my friends were like, what are you doing? I went to chase my dreams as an actor, comedian. And I'm home now. And the first thing people ask, is why'd you come back? And I came back last year in August. And to be honest with you, like family was important, just a sense of comfort, just things are different here, and especially after being out in L.A. LA's getting crazy, man. That's a whole crazy thing. And I know when you have LeBron money, it's a different lifestyle. But there's a comfort to being home, and he follows me, man. I can put Northeast Ohio to rest here. He's coming home because I came home.
Okay.
It's a weird obsession LeBron has with me.
Okay.
And yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for the call, Michael. All right. I guess we will have to. When it happens, whenever that's going to be. And again, LeBron, if you could do this by 11 a.m. Sunday, okay? I go on vacation for 2 weeks. So if we could just wrap this whole thing up, like the Rich Paul Game Over podcast thing is out, and the clips are starting to circulate on social media this morning of Rich really drumming up all the potential destinations and the pluses and minuses. Look, if you could work this out, make your announcement Sunday, 11 a.m. By then would be fantastic. I would very much appreciate it. And, we go way back.
Before we listen to the whole thing, which I know we both will today, do you think Rich Paul, as he goes into detail, will do the same kind of things with the other teams that make those teams think that they are going to get him?
Yeah.
Okay.
My understanding, based on the clips I'm seeing online, Rich does pluses and minuses for everybody on the whiteboard.
Okay.
Like
so
I said,
everybody who's watching, if you're in Philly right now, you're going, we're getting LeBron.
I'm looking forward to the final 72 minutes with you. I'm looking forward to talking to Chris Fedor of Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer, and the Wine and Gold Talk podcast coming up at 9 a.m. Not only about this, but, hey, where do things stand with the Cavaliers? James Harden waiting to do his deal. Is he waiting on LeBron? We're going to talk about all that with Chris coming up. Looking forward to all that. But now I am really looking forward to going home and firing this up and, watching it to see how Rich Paul breaks all of this down. Now, one of the things he also said in this podcast, in addition to just like breaking things down, is we're all assuming this is the farewell tour for LeBron this year. And Rich Paul indicated maybe that's not the case on this Game Over podcast, that maybe he kind of put some doubt into it, that maybe this isn't the retirement tour in 2026, 2027. This is Rich Paul on this Game Over podcast talking about LeBron James' short/long-term future. Here we go.
Who says it's going to be his last year?
Well, he has a documentary crew following him around.
He's had that for the last 4 years, Max. No one said this was going to be his last year. No one said that. Once he got the green light from Savannah and Zuri, because they're the only ones left in the house, you can do whatever you want to do.
Which teams have reached out?
The other day I said 10 to 12 teams. I counted today. Outside of one organization, maybe two, I've heard from every organization in the league. Every other organization.
So 28 teams. Or no, well, the Lakers, 27 teams.
Yes. Whether it was just checking in, we have to call.
I mean, you're not doing your job as a GM if you don't call. That doesn't mean that you have a snowball's chance of actually doing the transaction. Fascinating comments from Rich Paul right there. Again, that's from the Game Over podcast.
See, my question is, when you start talking about who says it's his last year of basketball, and once again, I'm a Cavs fan, I'm a Cleveland guy through and through. At what point in time does his age actually have to start being a part of like these long-term conversations, right? So at what point in time are you going to, I guess, limit your ceiling maybe because of what you want right now? That's one of the emotion things, basketball things that I'm fascinated to see over the next couple weeks is whatever you say, however long he's going to play, he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
And the wear and tear.
Well, he could do a Tom Brady, play till he's 45, 46. He is that gifted physically. Now, I never got the impression that LeBron has ever wanted to do the hang-on thing, the Michael Jordan going to the Wizards thing, right? where you're just a shadow of what you used to be. Now, if you watch the Lakers in the playoffs, okay, in that first series, they were without their top 2 scorers. LeBron carried them that series. And then they ran into Oklahoma City, and that series then went how you would expect it to go. It was LeBron against the Thunder. But, he's got plenty in the tank. He's still a very, very, very good player. Now, he's not 2014 to 2018 LeBron or first 6 years with the Lakers LeBron or Miami Heat LeBron, okay? But he's still, he can still put up 20 and 8 with his eyes closed, effortlessly, right? And so, yeah, maybe this whole thing is just, this is going to be his last stop. Maybe this isn't the retirement tour this year. Maybe this is he's going to sign a 1-year contract, but it's going to have multiple player options attached to it. So he's not going to bounce around late in his career. He, first 7 years with the Cavs, goes to Miami, wins a couple of championships there over 4 years, comes back to the Cavs for 4 years, wins a championship, 4 straight NBA Finals, 8 consecutive NBA Finals appearances for him. Now he goes to Los Angeles, pulls that franchise out of the ditch, wins an NBA championship there, and now it's okay, we're going to enjoy the rest of our career and maybe try and win another championship, but just enjoy however many years is left on that, right? After hearing that from Rich Paul, I'm thinking that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a multi-year contract.
Well, my thought would be, when you talked about Tom Brady versus LeBron, Tom Brady beat you with his brain, along with incredible arm talent. He had great arm talent, made anticipation, all those kind of things. That's regardless, not irregardless. It's regardless. The thing about LeBron, his game has been relies on explosion. And over the last couple of years, he shoots the ball better. That would be my message, right? Is it has to be the whole package with LeBron. It has to be the experience. It has to be he shoots the ball better. He's going to, that would be that's what people have to expect. I think some people expect LeBron to come back as the 25-year-old that, just beat you with raw power. I don't know if he can do that anymore, but there's a lot more to his game now, I think, right? His ability to pass, which has always been there, but he's not going to give you 25, 30 a night, but he's going to give you 20, and is he the piece that brings the toughness? Is he a piece that brings the glue, the chemistry? You look at, OKC, as good as Shea is, you watch that team, the chemistry is so good. I don't know. I think you're right. He's beaten Father Time. The idea of the multiple years is a little worrisome for me just because Father Time's undefeated. And are you willing to get up at the ceiling, maybe, the success of 6 or 7 years to get great success in maybe 2 or 3?
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, The Plain Dealer, the Wine and Gold.
think it's a real competition. I think it's close. And so why would you look to trade a guy that I think should be your starter? Because there is a chance, whatever that chance might be, that he can be your quarterback of the future.
Listen for Scott Petrak from the Chronicle Telegram Monday mornings at 11 on Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Back with you on The Fan. It's the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. No Ken, no Anthony. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the boys. It's the 4th of July, holiday weekend. This Rich Paul stuff is just, this is just bonkers to me. Kind enough to join us on a holiday weekend. I know it's not a holiday weekend for him because he's in the same spot we all are. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, the Wine and Gold Talk podcast, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Joining us on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Chris, good morning. Thanks so much for the time. Did you happen to see Rich Paul on Game On?
I sure did.
I can't remember the last time an agent went on a video podcast and did a comprehensive breakdown of free agent destinations. I can't wait to get home. I'm looking forward to our conversation. I'm looking forward to the final 57 minutes here with Coach Riz. I can't wait to race home and watch this thing now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think it just gives you a window into what he's thinking and what LeBron's thinking and all the different things that they're weighing when it comes into this particular decision. So anytime you can get that kind of access, it's pretty fascinating because I think sometimes it's not necessarily something that we always think about. I think maybe sometimes we just assume that LeBron has already made his decision or some of these free agents have already made their decision. And we don't have a general understanding of everything that goes into it. I mean, Rich was even going into some of the executives on both sides, the executives for the 76ers, for the Cavs, other people that are involved beyond just what does the roster look like, what kind of money do they have to give, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm fascinated by all those inner workings type things.
Chris, as I haven't listened to the whole podcast yet, but one of the things that stuck out to me is when Rich Paul said, "Oh, they weren't giving up Mobley. Don't worry about that." Do you think this has been in the works? Do you think that LeBron maybe had influence on some of the decisions that are being made on coming back here, or do you think that was just something I was hearing? I just don't. The tone of his voice said that he knew a lot more than he let on there with not getting rid of Mobley when they were talking about Mobley for Giannis. Do you think there's anything to that?
I think Rich is one of the most connected guys in the entire NBA, guys. I think he has an understanding of the way that the Cavs are thinking, the way that the Bucks are thinking, the way that the Celtics are thinking, the way that all these different teams are thinking. And I think what Rich has understood is very similar to what the rest of the NBA is starting to understand, that, if the Cavs are not going to be willing to trade Evan Mobley for somebody the caliber of Giannis. And look, there were a lot of questions about Giannis, his age, his contract situation. Does he want to re-sign an extension in the place where he would get traded if it was Cleveland? Some of the leg injuries that he's had recently, but that's a top 5 player in the game. So if the Cavs aren't willing to entertain trading Evan Mobley for that caliber player, and they weren't willing to have discussions with Boston related to Evan Mobley. Now, the Cavs had discussions with Boston, I'm told, but it wasn't for Evan. It was for lesser packages to try and get Jaylen Brown. But if they're not going to trade Evan Mobley for those caliber players, that means he's not going anywhere, because who are you going to trade Evan Mobley for? So I think that's what it is. The Cavs have given off this impression to teams around the NBA that Evan Mobley is very close to untouchable. And I think Rich was just reacting to that. And if he wasn't going to be traded for Giannis, and if he wasn't going to be traded for Jaylen Brown, I think it's logical for Rich to look at it and say, well, he's not going anywhere. But I don't think it's, LeBron has told the Cavs, or the Cavs are preparing for LeBron's return, so they're doing everything that LeBron wants them to do, or everything that Rich Paul wants them to do. It's just that the Cavs believe that much in Evan Mobley, and they have since the minute that they drafted him. And that doesn't mean that they're right in their decision. It doesn't mean that they're right in their stance, and it doesn't mean that they're going to be proven right. But it's the kind of guy that there are people inside the front office that say he's close to untouchable.
Chris, after watching this Rich Paul conversation here, has your opinion, your view, your thought of what you might feel like is going to happen here in the Summer of LeBron Part 4 / Summer of LeBron 2026 edition? Like, did it change or move the needle for you as far as where you think LeBron is going to end up?
No, I don't think so, because I think this is a hard one, guys. I think this one for LeBron in terms of free agency is different than some of the ones in the past, where we just don't have all that much clarity on what is going to be the driving force of this decision. Like in the past, when LeBron was a free agent, you knew the things that he was looking for. Did you have a max salary cap space? What does the roster look like? Can you compete for a championship? And there were obviously some other factors. But the fact that LeBron and Rich Paul has come out and said, like, this is not a money-driven decision, that just brings in other contenders that you probably would have eliminated in past years, and you probably would have eliminated from the beginning of this whole thing, right? Because not everybody in the past has had the kind of money that LeBron wanted. But the fact that he's willing to take the mid-level exception, something below what his market value would be, that makes him maybe the biggest bargain in the entire NBA. And now all of a sudden Philly's in it, right? Now all of a sudden Boston could be in it. Now all of a sudden Golden State. These high-priced teams that don't have a lot of financial flexibility, suddenly they're in the mix. So now it's more, I think, it feels like it's more about, okay, where can he go to compete for a championship? Now, how I look at the Cavs, how I look at the 76ers, how I look at some of these other teams may not be how LeBron looks at them, or may not be how Rich Paul looks at them. So I do think it's difficult to define happiness for LeBron. And I think it's very interesting and maybe purposeful that Rich and LeBron have talked about happiness, because that's a vague term that doesn't really give a full window into what this decision is going to be about. And when it's all said and done, some people might criticize, some people may look at the decision, but Rich and LeBron can say, well, that's the place that makes LeBron the happiest. But how you define that happiness, that's not for me to decide. That's not for you to decide. That's not for anybody to decide, because one person's definition of happiness may be very different than somebody else's definition of happiness. So I think at this point, you kind of just have to go based on the reporting that's out there through Rich Paul, the things that he's saying, and determine, okay, what situation is going to be the best definition of happiness for LeBron. And that's very, very difficult, obviously, but that's all that we can go on at this point.
The other thing that Rich made clear in this podcast that while, and I'll raise my hand and say I'm guilty of this, like the assumption this is LeBron's last year, he made it very clear, no one's saying that it's his last year, so now I'm hypothesizing this will be LeBron's last stop, and it'll be a multi-year deal, maybe a one-year deal with player options or whatever, but whatever decision he's going to make that makes him happy, this now will be LeBron's final stop of his career. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that. I don't think LeBron wants to go, well, I don't want to say that he doesn't want to go through this again, because he does like the attention. He does like being in the spotlight. He does like being loved. He likes being valued too. And when you have a 41-year-old guy toward the end of his career, and you've got all these teams that are expressing interest in him, and rightfully so, but, that's something that LeBron has liked in the past. And, given the way that he was treated by the Los Angeles Lakers over the last year and a half, I do think this is meaningful to LeBron, that these other teams around the NBA are saying, like, hey, no, we do want you. We do see the value. We are going to woo you. We are going to do these kinds of things that appeal to you that the Lakers weren't willing to do for you. So I don't want to sit here and say that LeBron doesn't like this level of attention and he doesn't want to go through this again at the end of his career. But it is something where, like, I don't think he wants to just keep bouncing from team to team to team to team. I do think there is a level of stability and consistency that he may be looking for, at least at the tail end of his career. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last stop in his journey. Now, does that mean that it's definitely Cleveland? Like, no, I don't think that definitely means that it's Cleveland. But I do think, when you're talking about happiness and what that means for somebody like LeBron, the Cavs can offer a level of nostalgia. They can offer the kind of send-off that Miami can't, that Philadelphia can't, that Denver can't, that some of these other teams can't. And now you just wonder, how much does that weigh into this decision versus what does the roster look like in Philadelphia? What does the roster look like in Denver? And all those different kinds of things.
Chris, when you take out the emotion and you do talk about that basketball, let's say LeBron's in Cleveland. What does he bring? Is it half-court offense, playmaking, late-game execution, leadership? What does he bring to Cleveland, and who does he impact on the roster most right now if he was to be a Cleveland Cavalier?
Yeah, guys, LeBron impacts everybody. That's the great thing about LeBron is the minute that he goes to an organization, guys benefit. Guys look better. They play better. They believe to a different kind of level. That's been who he's been throughout the course of his career. You talk about all the different guys that have benefited from playing alongside LeBron and the easier looks that they get, the kinds of money that they're able to get because of playing alongside LeBron, Matthew Dellavedova, Timofey Mozgov, Mike Miller. Look at all these different kinds of guys, Tristan Thompson. They've all benefited. They've benefited from a basketball standpoint. They've benefited from a financial standpoint. So I think everybody would improve on this team. I think he would help Evan Mobley. I think he'd help Jared Allen if they're both on the team. I think he would help Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell would help him. And yeah, from a basketball standpoint, you can look at it and say the biggest thing he would do is give the Cavs a two-way wing, a starting caliber small forward, the biggest hole in their roster, right? But I think the thing that this group needs the most from LeBron is just a level of leadership, a level of willingness to say difficult things behind the scenes. And look, his leadership style is not always for everybody. And sometimes people are critical of it because he can be passive aggressive. He can say some things either through the media or he can say some things on social media. He always had this phrase that he used when he was here in Cleveland. It was about learning how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. And he wanted the group that he had here in Cleveland to learn how to be uncomfortable because the playoffs are uncomfortable. The playoffs are going to be adversity. There are going to be difficulties that you deal with. So how do you handle those things when they arise? And if you can create that chaos, you can create that drama during the regular season, and you have to go through it to that level, now maybe you're better equipped to handle it when it does pop up in the playoffs. So I think, this Cavs group has a lot of nice guys, but I think LeBron is the kind of guy who will bring something different behind the scenes, a different kind of personality behind the scenes that this team really, really needs. And the other thing is, who on the Cavs has been an NBA champion? Nobody. Now, these guys have won. Donovan Mitchell knows how to win in the NBA. James Harden knows how to win in the NBA, but they don't know how to win at the highest level. They don't know what that looks like. They don't know what it takes. LeBron does. So that championship pedigree that he can bring to this team that is missing, that has shown up in the past in playoff series against the Indiana Pacers and against the New York Knicks most recently in the conference finals. There's just something different that LeBron has that this group is lacking. And I think those kinds of intangible things are really, really important for this organization to take the next step.
Last one for you here, Chris. there's clearly an arms race going on right now. Giannis to Miami, Jalen to Philadelphia, Kawhi back to Toronto. Is there a move for the Cavaliers here? It feels like Kobe's been trying to do something. I can't imagine he's just sitting around watching things go by. He's obviously trying to do something, but is there a move that could put the Cavaliers over the top here to get LeBron?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't think from a roster-related standpoint, as it currently stands right now, guys, I don't think the Cavs have the best one to show LeBron. I think Philly does.
Okay.
I think Denver has a strong argument as well, right? But I also think it's a pretty good roster. You've got arguably 4 of the top 50 players in the NBA, and then LeBron would fill in the remainder of that starting lineup. I don't think there's something that the Cavs can do, given the financial constraints that they're working under, that all of a sudden they make X move, and all of a sudden LeBron's like, hey, now the Cavs have a better roster-related setup than Philadelphia, because they're not getting somebody like Jaylen Brown, right? They're not getting somebody like Giannis. If they're not going to trade Evan Mobley, and all indications are that they aren't, they're not getting that caliber player to add to this equation. Now, are there smaller moves that they can make? Sure. Yeah, no doubt. They could see what they could get for Jared Allen and some other things. They could see what they can get for Max Strus's expiring contract. They could see if there's anything that they could get for Dennis Schroeder's contract, or they could salary dump him and try and use that money in a different kind of way. But I don't think if the Cavs went out and they signed and traded for Jonathan Kuminga, like, I don't think that's going to move the needle. All of a sudden, LeBron's like, hey, you guys got Jonathan Kuminga coming off the bench. Now, all of a sudden, you look a lot better from a roster standpoint. Or if the Cavs went out and signed some free agent with the veterans minimum, which is all that they can offer free agents at this point in time based on their financial situation, I don't think LeBron's going to be like, hey, all right, now that looks better than Denver. So I think their roster is kind of what it is. I think the talent that they can offer LeBron and the situation that they can offer from a basketball standpoint is kind of what it is. And I don't think they need to do anything drastic, because if LeBron can't see 4 of the top 50 players on the same team, that's the thing. Like, from a roster standpoint, all of these teams, if you're talking about Denver, if you're talking about Minnesota, if you're talking about Philadelphia, you can throw out all these teams that have expressed interest in LeBron that Rich Paul put on his whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
Which one of those is a bad basketball situation? There aren't any.
Yeah.
This isn't Washington, right? The Brooklyn Nets aren't on that whiteboard for a reason. Like, he's looking at legitimate places where he can win. Miami, same thing with Giannis and Bam now together. So none of those situations that are up on that whiteboard are bad basketball situations. All of those teams with LeBron on them is going to have a chance to compete and maybe possibly win a championship. So I think it's going to be the smallest of things potentially that end up swaying this decision, but it's certainly not going to be the Cavs going out and getting Jonathan Kuminga or some free agent with the veterans minimum, or like trading for PJ Washington or something along those lines. I think the Cavs, their roster as it stands right now, is appealing enough to go on that whiteboard. And there's a strong case that, of those teams that are up on that whiteboard, the Cavs have one of the best rosters as it stands without making a significant shakeup.
Chris, you're the best. Appreciate you. We'll be checking you out in the Wine and Gold Talk podcast, Cleveland.com, The Plain Dealer. You know what? I was convinced he was coming home, and now you've set me straight. Of course, now my opinion's been blown with the breeze as the days go by. Now I'm back to he's not coming home. Thanks a lot.
Well, you just can't be convinced of anything when it comes to LeBron James and a free agency decision. Was the Miami decision popular? No. Was the Los Angeles Lakers decision popular? No. So he's not always going to go for what is the most popular or the most obvious decision. I do think that the Cavs have a strong chance. I think they've got the nostalgia. I think they've got the home thing. I think they've got the emotional ties. and they have a strong roster that would be appealing to LeBron, where he would think, hey, this team has a chance to compete. So I do think they have a strong chance. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Chris. Enjoy the holiday weekend if you can.
source for sports is Cleveland Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Some people might criticize, some people may look at the decision, but Rich and LeBron can say, well, that's the place that makes LeBron the happiest. But how you define that happiness, that's not for me to decide. That's not for you to decide. That's not for anybody to decide, because one person's definition of happiness may be very different than somebody else's definition of happiness. So I think at this point, you kind of just have to go based on the reporting that's out there through Rich Paul, the things that he's saying, and determine, okay, what situation is going to be the best definition of happiness for LeBron. And that's very, very difficult, obviously, but that's all that we can go on at this point.
That was Chris Fedor just moments ago with us. It's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima on 92.3 The Fan, with you till 10. 4th of July holiday weekend. Be safe out there. Hydrate. Careful with the boom booms. All those things. It's been a fascinating morning from the Rich Paul conversation on that Game Over podcast, the whiteboard, the pluses and minuses, all the potential destinations. I had not considered Denver a real threat. I guess I should. Boston, I didn't think was a thought. Possibly is. So I talked myself into the decision was already made, and he's totally coming home. And after talking to Chris, Coach, I'm not so convinced anymore.
Well, first of all, Chris was fascinating. Great stuff from Chris. And, a couple things stuck out is obviously money's not a factor. So that was interesting because it does bring other teams in, right? So immediately when you talk about LeBron in his first couple stints, who can give him the max?
Yeah, we're not looking at salary slots available.
So that's not the max anymore. Then he said the happiness. That's vague, right? Because I think for me personally, I think you're included in this, like being home and nostalgia. Maybe that's, we don't know we don't really know that. We assume that. And then
happiness could be something completely new.
Yeah, exactly. So being in a new spot with new for his wife and kid and all that we don't know that. But the thing that really stuck out with me, the whole conversation with Chris, we asked him how, what does he bring basketball wise, and he was talking about the wing and all that. But the thing that stuck out to me is when he said LeBron will be able, during the course of an 82 game season, he'll be able to say difficult things when you don't want to hear them. He'll be able to say difficult things at practice to people who aren't doing their meeting up to expectations of what a championship level team takes. And I think that's really important when you don't have anybody on a roster, regardless of the sport. You have a guy now that knows what it takes and that credibility. Not only is he being an incredible basketball player, but he's been there experience-wise. That was something that, leadership-wise, but that's, talk about, he'll do all these things with Donovan. Really comes down to he's going to be irritating when people get comfortable, and that's really important. And that's really important because you have to be. You're not.
You're right.
Leadership and being the alpha. That's a lonely place, and he's comfortable with it.
Look at what the problem for the Cavaliers has been, and that is the finishing aspect, finishing games, finishing series, right? And I say that realizing that they did just win 2 Game 7s to advance to the conference finals. I get it, I understand it, but they didn't finish Game 1 in the conference finals. They struggled to finish off those. They should have finished those series in 5 or 6 games, and it took them to a Game 7 to finish those series off. And that's, I guess, what I'm more so referencing. I'm acknowledging, yes, they did finish off Toronto. They did finish off the Pistons ultimately, but it took them a while. They got pushed to the brink to do it. And I think that LeBron could help in regards of no, we're going to put these guys out of their misery immediately. They're going to have no chance, no life, because that's how it was with LeBron in the playoffs. It was the LeBron Invitational. And he just absolutely took the Raptors and the Hawks, just everyone to the woodshed in the Eastern Conference. His second time around. I mean, even with Miami, 8 straight NBA Finals appearances. But yeah, the afternoon show busts my chops all the time. They say I change my opinion and I'm like a politician and I go back and forth. I'm like, no, I think I try and pride myself on my consistency. But I will admit, like, when it comes to this, like, I think one thing 1 minute and then the next minute, like earlier in the show, I was convinced this decision has been made. They're doing all this for theater. This is just for entertainment now. And then the Rich Paul stuff comes out. We talked to Chris Fedor, who was amazing. He's the best of the best. And I'm just like, I don't know what the heck's going on all of a sudden. I don't know. Social media reactions powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Well, we go back to shout out to Ryan's 12/12/1998. You and I were talking earlier about if he comes back, how he'll do that. Ryan had an interesting conversation here. He says it might be a golf course decision with LeBron's new love of golf. He said he might grab the ball from the hole with the team he'll play on. I think that's pretty good, Ryan. We appreciate your response there. I like that kind of, he's a big golfer now. He's going to reach in, hole, pull it out, and, hopefully, we'll see what we want to see.
He's allegedly a member of Firestone Country Club all of a sudden. I'm just saying, listen, I'm Cleveland, I'm trying to will this into existence for you again, okay? I'm doing my part.
Well, I will tell you
I have no influence on anything. I am trying to do my part here for you, though, and to make this happen.
The thing that should get you really excited is that leadership is lonely, and LeBron likes that loneliness, that idea of being on top, telling people to do things that people don't like to hear. That might be exactly what this team needs. Besides, it's 26-6, right? We know that, but we're talking about what else is there. What else could draw LeBron? Well, LeBron likes to be the guy who is the guy in charge, whether it's scoring or just simply saying, Donovan, you gassed in Game 5.
Yeah.
You know what? If you got out of a series earlier, you would have your legs, kind of deal. So I don't know. I think that's very exciting for me when you think about the leadership part of that, because it is lonely, and he's comfortable in those shoes.
I really the one thing that I don't think we're getting a decision anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to go into next week. It may even go into the week after that. I don't think that one is coming anytime soon. Like I said, I was convinced. Come back to the Cavs. Right after he came out, he's not going back to the Lakers. He's totally coming back to the Cavs, and then no, he's going to go to Golden State, and then oh no, he's going to go back to Miami with the Heat. No, he's coming back to the Cavs.
Well, I think everything you've said though makes sense.
Oh, he could go to Philadelphia, or he can go to Boston or Denver. Like, I was completely dismissive of Denver, and then we see the clips from Rich Paul on this Game On podcast or Game Over podcast. I'm sorry. And then we talked to Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com Wine and Gold Talk podcast this morning on the show, and I'm just like, oh, I got to take the Nuggets seriously now too, and they are a little closer to LA than Cleveland, Ohio is, even though he still has his home in Northeast Ohio, and so I am blowing with the breeze here now. I'm trying to will this back into existence. I'm trying to will that LeBron James is coming back to the Cavaliers. I have to say the three words that you never want to hear from somebody sitting in this chair, and that is, I don't know. The phone lines are blowing up. We'll get to you guys next. Last call for you as we put a wrap on the show. We are not doing Coming in Hot. I just want to be very clear if the phones are blowing up, because it's going to be 9:45, and I know that that's what Anthony and Ken do. We're not doing that for the 4th of July on this show. Like, if you've got to take on LeBron, Guardians, a big series with
You're about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Make the afternoon drive your soundtrack on the way into the Guardians games. And talk about the game on your way home on Overtime. The best Guardians coverage is right here on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
You can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the free Odyssey app or by telling your smart speaker to play 92.3 The Fan. And now you can find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube, including The Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima, 6 to 10 a.m., Baskin and Phelps, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin, 2 to 7 p.m. live each and every weekday on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel for free. By the way, my favorite four-letter F word. And watch all the best content from your favorite shows on The Fan, live and on demand. Now, it's Daryl Ryder, Lance Reisland in for the boys. Coming up in for Baskin and Phelps, it's Malik Hicks and John Colavita. They're going to continue the conversation regarding the LeBron Watch 2026. What Rich Paul had to say this morning. We had Chris Fedor from Cleveland.com, Wine and Gold Talk podcast, Plain Dealer. He was fantastic. But let's take some calls here. Let's do a little rapid fire. The phone lines are just absolutely packed. So we're going to try and rapid fire here in the final segment. This is not coming in hot. Again, we're not coming in hot today. We're just giving you an opportunity to weigh in on the latest with LeBron. Let's go to Larry in Elyria. You're going to be first up. Larry, what you got for us?
Hey, how's it going, Daryl? Coach, happy 4th, you guys.
You too.
Stay safe, too, and stay cool. This is what's going to happen there. He's playing this. It's like your college recruiting. Him and Kevin Hart will be there at the table. He had all those hats, the teams he's supposed to go to, right? Then all of a sudden, Kevin's going to ask LeBron, where you head to? And the Cavs will not be on that table, right? And all of a sudden, I made my decision. He's going to pull the Cavs hat from everywhere behind the table, behind his back. He's coming to Cleveland.
All right, Larry. I like it. I like it.
The hats.
You said it.
The hats?
You said it. You said that he's going to do the hat thing.
He always talks about college. This is his chance to get a little taste.
Jake in Bath, you're next up on The Fan.
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Yeah, got you loud and clear. Jake, what you got for us, bud?
Sweet. So I work at Dick's in Fairlawn, which is right by where they live, and Bronny came in last night, and going off that golf pipeline, he was asking me for some size 14 golf shoes. And I'm a taller guy, so I was like, you might have to go over to our Golf Galaxy, where LeBron posted that video talking about Kevin Hart.
Okay.
He's coming home.
So you're convinced he's coming home then, huh? Okay. He's out shopping for golf stuff. Thanks for the call. Again, we're doing rapid fire here, so that's what we're doing here. But like,
little intel, I like it.
Yeah, he's shopping. Well, hey, you know what? That's better than Bill Cowher bought a house in Strongsville. Thankfully, LeBron already has a house here, so we can like eliminate real estate from the conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean, he'll just buy whatever he wants. That's really what it comes down to with LeBron. Here's the thing. You love all the intel, and once again, it gets us leaning. Once you hear things, you're like, oh, he is coming back, and then you'll get shot down here.
All right, let's go to Parma. Bill, you're next up on The Fan. What you got, Bill?
Great program, you guys.
Appreciate you.
He will not be coming here. He'll be going to Denver. Denver is serving penance for getting rid of Michael Porter Jr., who became a 26-point-a-game person. They could not replace him at all, and that really hurt them. Number two is LeBron, if Fedor was really telling the truth, and it's been known, he's never really been a leader's leader. He's a me guy in the sense that they ask the Miami Heat when they were playing with that team, who was the leaders of that team? And the top three was Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade. And LeBron is disruptive because he is so me guy. When he was here, remember he shot a free throw left-handed? Remember he was ill sometimes and they couldn't figure out what the problem was? Who did he make better with the Lakers? And so and why doesn't San Antonio go after him? They're right there knocking on the door. Why don't they? Because he has some things about his personality that is very destructive. And you guys know that as well as I. Thanks a lot.
All right, there you go, Bill. Bill is not on the summer of LeBron train, apparently. Listen.
Kiss my with a smile, too.
I think I think LeBron makes everyone better. I do feel like that LeBron would give the Cavaliers something that they just desperately need and haven't had, and it's been why they have not been able to get back to the NBA Finals with this core as talented as it is. I mean, Chris told us, Coach, that the Cavs have 4 of the top 50 players in the NBA now. And maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. And if I am, listen, when I'm wrong, I'm the first to say that I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not one of these people that's afraid to say if I've got something wrong. And I just feel like if you would have told me like 6-7 years ago, okay, when the Cavs are doing the lottery thing, and you said, Daryl, Cavs going to have 4 of the top 50 players in the NBA on the team in 6 years, I would have said, oh, then they will have won their second NBA championship. Now, again, maybe I'm looking through that with the wrong lens as far as like my expectation. And maybe that's why I've been a little tough on the Cavs, because I recognize their talent and the ability. And so I have those expectations.
Well, I'll say this: comfort and satisfaction are the worst things in sports. And when you don't have expectations and you don't expect things, then everybody gets comfortable in being okay. When the last caller, which I appreciate, and those things might be real, but when I look at that as a coach, I look and say, you know what? He's not everybody's friend, and that goes back to leadership is lonely, and you have to irritate people, and you have to make people on edge, and you have to make people want to practice, and you have to do things to get to the next level. He's proven he can do it, so he might be right in everything he's saying. Michael Jordan's not very liked by his teammates either, but I think they'll take the rings, and sometimes that's what leadership is. And when you're on top and you're in charge, it's lonely.
Let's sneak one more in. Marcus in Aurora, you're next up on the Fan. How you doing, Marcus?
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot. My first quick comment is LeBron would never play in Texas. He would never live in Texas or play in that state. My other comment is that I would hope he would not go to Golden State and play in front of those fans that taunted him for all those years and belittled him or whatever, because, that's part of being a fan. I'm a Raider fan, and a lot of Raider fans are Golden State Warrior fans, and before I blew up my Twitter account, I had to block a lot of them because the mere mention of LeBron's name, they just busted his chops and were very disrespectful, and I don't understand why he would want to go play in front of those fans, man. I appreciate you guys.
All right, there you go. Thanks a lot, Marcus. Have a great holiday weekend. Yeah,
Marcus is with you on that one.
Yeah, well, again, I get being friends with people in the league, and I respect that LeBron is friends with Steph and with Draymond. From my perspective, as a competitor, I would find it very, very difficult to be like, yeah, you beat me 3 of 4 NBA Finals. Now let's team up as I get ready to wave bye-bye at the end of my – the competitor – and you know what? Maybe that's pride. Maybe that would be my pride getting in the way. Maybe not so much a competitor thing. I'll admit that. My pride would not allow me to do that.
Well, then that competitive, once again, there's hatred when you don't like someone, and then there's competitive hate. Competitive hate is when I'm playing against you, I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
When I play against my daughter, I'm not letting her win, right? That's the competitive, you doing everything you can to win. That's different than the old days, right? These guys never talked to each other until they retired. Yeah. So it's different now, but you want them to you think that competitive, hatred and that competitive, we got to beat the Warriors would kind of tie in and things they did. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I do think LeBron is a leader. He's just a leader in his own unique way.
It's lonely up top.
There's different leadership styles. You may not like how LeBron leads, okay? I'll hear that argument. But I don't think I can sit here and say with an ounce of credibility, LeBron's not a leader.
Yeah,
no.
And that happens when you don't say everything people want. It happens.
All right, Coach, it's been fun.
Absolutely.
Man, that 4 hours flew. It's been fun. We're done. Kayla, thank you so much. Spinning the dials here at the flagship, helping produce. Meredith Kane on the 2020s, helping produce as well. Stay tuned. John Colavita, Malik Hicks, they're in for Baskin and Phelps as the 4th of July holiday continues here on the Fan, holiday weekend, I should say, as well as LeBron Watch 2027. It's the summer of LeBron, part 4/episode 4. Don't go anywhere. It could happen at a moment's notice. The Rich Paul stuff blew up this morning for us. Fascinating stuff. I'm looking forward to going home and watching that. But hang tight. Listen to John, Malik. They'll take your calls as well. Have yourselves a safe and happy 4th of July holiday weekend. Coach and I will be back Sunday morning with you 8 to 10 right here on The Fan. Have a great holiday weekend, Cleveland.